If I could suck a dick tonight, right now, it's only going to be 10 minutes worth of work, and I don't got to show up for work for a week. I'd rather do that. Welcome to the Exploding Heads Horror Movie Podcast, episode number 85, kicking it live. I'm Dave Z, Absolute Dave to some. Once again tonight. I am here with...
Oh, my name is Christian. We have to introduce ourselves. My name is Christian.
Wow, very professional. Okay.
And my name is Grimsby.
Yes.
That fucking stuck.
Hey, you know what? We were just talking. Did you guys listen to the last WotZ episode by chance?
We were just talking about that right before the show. No.
Oh.
Yes and no. Here it is. I've listened to about half of almost every episode.
Oh, so you skipped the main review.
Well, he only likes the Watt part. He doesn't like the Z part.
I love the pregame. I love the gaming. I love it. Just sometimes when we get into the review, depends on the movie. I haven't listened all the way through, even though I think you did, not Midsommar. Did you do Midsommar? No, you didn't.
We discussed it for 5 minutes, but I mean, we didn't do it. Listen to me. All I wanted to say is that somebody asked us about a listener of our show, all of our shows, Watson's, WotZ, Exploding Heads, everybody. Our homie, oh man, what's his name? It's going to come to me. Just hold on.
Tommy B, who says he prefers you in that show than this show? That Tommy?
Was it Tommy?
You hear this, Brendan? This guy says, I might prefer you both in this show over your other more popular shows. This Tommy guy.
You know what? Oh. I prefer Tommy not listen to our show anymore. And I think I'd prefer Christian on another show.
Yeah. I have another one.
Yeah, right. Maybe he prefers TGIF to this show. It's quite possible.
I think
even though they're putting out clip shows.
Yeah. Hey, that was gold. Let's do a clip show. What? Yeah, let's just do it.
I enjoyed it.
So what's going on with the show? What's happening? What was said?
No. What I was saying was somebody called in, or not called in, excuse me. It was Tommy, I guess, saying he's starting a podcast. And how did I come onto this thing? You said something about something that podcasts do, and we said, oh yeah. Watson said one of the things you should do on your podcast. We were giving advice. He asked for advice.
This is where I got it from.
Yeah, always introduce yourself at the beginning of the show. He goes, if I start listening to a show and I don't know who I'm listening to, and it's the first time I listen to, then I end up dumping the show. I can't hang like that. It's that's one of his things. So, start the show, introduce yourself, be professional. So there you have it. That's one of Watson's pieces of advice, and I'm okay with that. Just because. I mean, if it's just the regulars that are listening and they're used to our banter and everything else, that's fine. But if someone's listening to us for the first time and we're just your,
I'm cutting out the introductions. I'm cutting them out.
But then shouldn't they technically go back to episode 1 and at least listen to the first 15 minutes?
Dude, you would think. But every time you meet somebody and you say, I got a podcast, or however it happens on social media or whatever, they always go to your last show.
No, I know. I get that, not wanting to start from the beginning. I get it. But if you want to know who you're listening to, more times than not, there's going to be a thorough introduction in the first 15, 20 minutes of episode 1. I'm not saying I disagree with that. I do introduce yourself. It's not a bad concept to bring in new people on your later episodes. Some people don't go back and listen to an entire catalog.
No, not everybody does, but I guess it just sounds good to, always introduce yourselves.
Yeah.
This guy's here. Who are you? Who are you? This way, if someone's talking later about the show, they can say, hey, that so-and-so is an ass. Or this so-and-so, I like what he had to say. Or this guy's funny. Instead of not knowing their names. What if we never introduced ourselves and we just never said each other's names the whole show? Well, whatever. Bottom line is to introduce ourselves, so we really suck. That is the thing, though. And that's the ongoing joke about this podcast is we don't know how to start a show and we don't know how to end a show. Everything in between is gold.
I'm not sure everything in between is even gold.
I was about to say the same.
But
and the shit in the middle is fucking
But for
iffy.
some reason,
Tolerable.
it comes together and people enjoy it. And that's all that matters. And we enjoy it.
Right. Yes, we do.
Oh, sorry.
We got Absolute Dave and we got Whiny Christian because I'm drinking wine, red wine, of course. And he's drinking Absolute. So if I start snoring in the middle of the show, snow.
If I start snoring in the middle of snow.
Yeah. Uh-oh, my Clarice is coming out.
Clarice.
Clarice.
He's shady can smell my cunt.
Hello, Clarice.
Oh, Clarice. It's like a combination of Clarice and chlorine.
Yeah.
Clarice.
Well, I did bleach my asshole earlier. Thank you very much. Spick and span over here.
Hannibal, my eyes are burning in the pool. Did you use extra Clarice?
Brilliant.
I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
I don't either, but I'll say this. After last show and what we talked about at the beginning of last show with everything that went down with the Patreon and I talked a little bit about life's
a little bit.
Okay. A lot of it, but I'll tell you what. I got so many people that messaged me and said this, and it was well wishing, and hey, Dave, are you okay? And that's the worst part. I mean, no, it's a great thing.
They care, damn it! It sucks.
Wow, he backtracked real quick.
Hold up, it's a great thing that they cared enough to reach out and say things. But the worst part is that was not my intention at all. You know, I've had it much worse than either of these two guys. We've all had shit happen this past year. A lot of stuff. So I wasn't trying to make the focus on me, but I got all kinds of messages and this and that, and I'm grateful to everybody that reached out and said things, and I'm okay, and we're all okay. And a lot of them were very supportive. They're saying, take as long as you need. You know, family comes first. You just got to take care of this, and this, and the show comes on when it does. And, you know, don't let one complaint. Oh, shit, I just threw my cap. Don't let one complaint, you know, derail you and whatever. Well, did anyone talk to you guys?
People reached out to me too. Eric Webster said, can I replace you? I'm like, you bald motherfucker.
You know, it's funny. Eric Webster reached out to me and said, can you replace Christian?
Speaking of Eric Webster, I'm glad you said that because I forgot all about it. There might have been an Eric Webster message or something. Oh, man. And I forgot. Hold on
and I'm kidding, Eric. You know that. But no, all joking aside, people did reach out. I was like, whoa. I know we've like wore our hearts, our emotions out, like just on our sleeves. We just let it all out last show. And I even felt bad because I jokingly said, you could hear me keep trying to get the show on track. And Dave's like, I just got to say one more thing. I just got to say one more thing. I felt like an asshole because I thought like maybe I was like not letting you say your piece.
That's exactly what happened.
No.
You one show son of a bitch.
And Eric Webster, Christian's kidding. You're not really bald.
I'm so mad.
As I tell Moods with his beard, your hair's on upside down.
I'm looking for this message. I thought maybe Eric sent something, and now I can't find it. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he didn't. Eric, I don't know. Get back to us or something, because maybe you did, maybe you didn't.
Get back to us to tell me if you sent me something or not.
Yeah, sorry. Forget I said anything. But I will tell you this.
Excuse you.
Yeah, excuse you, Dave.
Hold on. I got to find my cap for my vodka. Hold on. I threw the cap.
Oh, man. Dave is absolutely flatulent.
He's gassed already.
Oh, did my chair make a noise? Is that what happened?
Yeah, that's what it was.
Okay.
Make a noise.
My chair or my table. It wasn't me. If it was me.
That was you. I saw your butthole open up.
He's foaming at the mouth over there.
I got my cap. And people did like Absolute Dave, which I was kind of surprised at.
Absolute Dave was super chill.
Hmm?
I don't give a
I'm back
fuck.
at it again because I'm pissed off again because I worked another fucking 12-hour day today, and Scott pissed me off again last night, although it was short-lived. But
Tell it like
anyway.
it is, Ma.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you everyone that reached out to us and everything else. And
wait, can I just pause you right there? Is there any way you can get a louder glass? I knew Christian would laugh at that.
How's that?
Christian, were you thinking that?
Yeah, I was just about to say that. I pointed to the camera as if I'm on camera.
Oh, okay.
Still.
I knew you were thinking it the minute I heard the clinking of the ice cubes.
It's the gimmick, though. It's Absolute Dave, so I'm allowed to do it. So thank you again. And as far as Patreon goes, one quick thing, by the time this show drops, it's going to be restructured. We figured out a way to do things. But the big news is that we are going to have a bonus episode, one bonus episode a month exclusively on Patreon. Beginning now, we are going to review a new movie, the three of us, once a month when a new movie drops. Movies drop all month, but whatever. We're going to figure out how we're going to do it. But we are going to come on there and do a bonus review once a month for certain. At the very least, that's what's happening with the three of us. And I have a feeling I might do a solo thing. I might do another thing with Frankie Z. It might be more active because I think we're going to try to make up for the restructuring.
The Wat Z party.
The Wat Z party
Sorry.
could have been the #1 show on the network this past month.
If Jason didn't invite everyone on the Bloody Bits.
Well, Wat Z did it on just one, you know what I mean? Just one thing, one feed.
Jason's going to pull us. I know it.
No,
He's
Jason
going to hear this.
No, Jason knows that.
He understands that there's a huge asterisk next to his #1.
Do you think Watson's crying into his hands when he sees? He's like, #2. Like, really? #2? The 1 month he could have done it.
Yeah, I know.
I think he should be happy he's finally this high. Did Horror Corridor ever reach #2? Horror Corridor. I love that title.
Horror Door.
Production, again, Brandon and I were talking about this before. Production coming out of its yin-yang. Like, you can't get a better produced show.
I think it's the lack of personality.
At #2.
Love you, Watson. Watson's been cool. He reached out to me recently just to catch up. We have
good.
Brandon didn't respond.
I told
him. I'll get back to you eventually.
Let's get it. What are we doing tonight? We're off the rails, like you said. We never know how to fucking start this.
I was bringing it up earlier that we're doing the Ring trilogy, but that there's also 75 films in the franchise. I was unaware that there were that many.
Oh, it's kind of like the Halloween franchise, how they went off and they got different things, different timelines. Yeah.
15 total with the 3 American, 1 South Korean remake, and then
the TV
11 Japanese ones between the made-for-TV movies and the Sadako versus films.
Yeah, that and Ju-on have a ton.
Yeah.
And we're just doing the original, or not the original 3, but Ringo Starr.
Ringo 2,
and Ringu.
Ringo's All-Star Band. What's the name of Ringo Starr's solo band? Isn't it like Ringo Starr's All-Star or something? I think it's just called the Ringo Starr and his All-Star Band. I think that's what they're called. I know that's weird, but
sounds about right.
Why not the Ringo All-Star Band? Anyway, Ringu 2, and Ringo 0 Bonsai.
I'll tell you what. I'm gonna drop some knowledge right now. I'm gonna drop in science on this. Do you know that Ringu doesn't even exist? That word, it's a mistake. The real movie in Japan is just called Ring. Just Ring. You used to see the box back in the day. I used to see the VHS box at the end of the 99, and the box just said Ring on it, right? And then they made the movies. Now check it out. Everybody calls it Ringu, and you know why? This is what's crazy. Because of the B. Because of the translation. Because when they were trying to talk about what it was, the way it was, the pronunciation from the Japanese, look at it this way. Okay, Mr. Nakata, what is the name of your film? my film Ringu. He just said ring, but there's that little thing at the end because of the accent that I'm telling you, that's how.
Was this an official documentary? Ringu. What was that? I think you said Ringu. Type it in the B immediately. Don't ask for clarification. Just type the fucking thing into the B.
That's what happened. I'm telling you, they called it Ringu and they put it on the B, and then the other ones that follow, it became known as Ringo, and then
Ringo.
Ringu. Good God. Oh, no, I did it. Ringu Star. Yes. What they did was they put out a DVD set, a box set, which I actually do have. I forgot who put it out. But anyway, they put out a box set less than 10 years ago even, I think. And it said right on the box, Ringu, Ringu, and it had the 3 movies we're going to talk about tonight, plus Rosin, also known as Spiral, which is the unofficial sequel
to Raisin.
No.
Raisin Bran. What'd you have for breakfast this morning? Raisin Bran. Write that down. Raisin. That's the name of the movie.
So Ringu is actually a snafu. That's the bottom line. That's what I'm getting to here.
That's another sequel, Snafu.
Snafu is a sequel to that movie, Snuff It.
It's a laugh a minute around here.
Boy,
in exploded headquarters.
You guys ever see Snuff It, by the way?
Is that the puppets?
Snuff
Yes,
it real good.
That's Dustin Mills, right?
I don't know who it is. All I know is that it's puppets killing people.
Yeah, no, I think it's a Dustin Mills film. He does like low budget films. I own a couple of his films. He does really good stuff. He'll do it with like $1,000, and he makes these really good movies.
Yeah, Snuff It.
Yeah, Dustin Mills. I'm pretty sure that is.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I didn't know. I just know of that movie, Snuff It. I'm like, wow.
Snuff
but anyway,
it real good. I had to crack the joke twice.
Yeah, we didn't hear you, or I didn't. What were we saying? Anyway.
Little Miss Snuff It.
It's really
Oh, we're off to a fucking smashing good start. It's like old times.
Yeah, it is. I feel good.
8 hours into the show, we haven't mentioned a movie yet.
Okay, we're talking about the Ring trilogy.
Goo.
From Japan. The first one, the second one, and the prequel. We are also doing a couple triple R's. We're talking about Devil, and we're talking about Starry Eyes. That's what we're doing. What do you guys think? What should we do tonight?
I think we should start with Ringo 2, then go to Ringo 0, then do a triple R, then go to Ringo 1, and then do the other triple R.
And then do the Ringu films, since he's doing Ringo.
And then we'll end the show with an encore performance by the Ringo All-Star Band.
I'm fine with doing the trilogy with a triple R split in the middle.
Yeah.
I just felt like the last episode, it might have been sacrilege to have anything come in between Carpenter.
Yeah, we still did.
No, he didn't. Nothing came in between.
We had questions and banter.
Oh.
No, but like no other reviews.
Q and B. Wow,
Cuban B, yes. I'm Cuban B. I'm Cuban B.
I am Cuban B.
Oh, my Lord. It's an all-time new low.
I am the Cuban B.
You know what? I don't care. We're having fun. That's it. I don't care. Let's enjoy ourselves.
You think that's what it's called in Cuba? I am the Cuban B.
I am the Cuban B. I pronounced the movie Ringu.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, okay. We do.
We'll see you guys on 86.
10 out of 10.
Okay, let's get serious. We're about half an hour into this. Well, not really half an hour. Half an hour since we started recording for the patrons. So probably 15, 20 into the show. New listeners have already given up. That show is a bunch of asses. They don't talk about anything. So let's get serious now. If you're still hanging with us, we are going to get serious. We really are. We're going to talk about these movies. I guess we should start with where it's supposed to start, no? Talk about Ring.
Starry Eyes.
Ring.
Yeah, let's. All right. Ringo.
Ring.
Ring. Starring Naomi Watts. No, just kidding. I brought the right one. From 1998, directed by Hideo Nakata. A reporter and her ex-husband investigate a cursed videotape that is rumored to kill the viewer 7 days after watching it.
1 week.
7 days?
7 days.
1 week. Doesn't that the
Yeah.
same ring as 7 days?
Well, I'll tell you
However,
Cordell, I'll see you in 7 days.
I don't want to get into all that, but the book and this movie and the American remake are all radically different. And I mean different in each different way. Like, the book was one thing, the movie was another, and then the remake was another. They're all different, yet, the same basic story to a degree, but and I'm not going to get into every detail. I'm not going to talk about the American remake at all, even though I do enjoy it. But what they did here, I have to give them so much credit, because if you know anything about the book, what they changed up made this movie even better. Because, wow, the book was a virus. It wasn't so much a ghostly. It was, in 7 days, you got freaking smallpox or something and died. I'm not even joking. That's what happened. They found you dead with freaking marks on your body. There wasn't a ghost coming out the TV. It wasn't a ghost thing at all. It wasn't Samara doing that stuff.
And it has a
Samara,
great
sorry.
ending.
Oh.
No, go.
No. I'm saying I'm sorry that I called her Samara. I mean, shame on me. It's Sadako.
Well,
Yeah.
now
Don't do that again.
I said that I thought this movie played out more like a thriller, though. Quite frankly, it was more of like a cop ghost story. Good ghost story, though. I'm not trying to knock it. Great ghost story. The horror kind of kicks in at the end.
Interesting.
Yeah. No, I agree. The Japanese do ghost stories really well. Here's the thing with me, and I'll just say this right now so people know. I had never seen any of the Japanese films. These were all first-time watches. I've only seen the two American films.
Me so sorry.
I happen to enjoy the American version very much. And I'm not saying I didn't enjoy this at all. There were elements of it that I thought were definitely on par or better than the American. Then there were some things I thought the American did that made it scarier for me. But that's also because I saw the American version when it first came out years ago, and it frightened me, whereas now I'm even more desensitized from it. But they do make really solid ghost films, the Japanese. And it doesn't feel very horror-esque.
No, even the opening doesn't. Like, as soon as it feels like it should get scary, it's like they cut away, and they're doing that to try to build mystique and mystery and whatnot. But that's why I feel like it doesn't play true to a horror film until the final moments of the movie. And I agree, Brandon, and I've said this on the show before. So if you haven't listened to the earlier episodes, I actually, for both The Ring and The Grudge, prefer the American remakes. And if that's sacrilegious, so be it.
I'm not going to say that for The Grudge's sake, but for this sake, because of the actual scares that I got from the American remake of Ring, I slightly preferred. I thought in this one, the opening scene with Tomoko and her friend in the house did not have the tension and the scare that the Amber Tamblyn opening had for me. But again, if I saw this in 1998, I might be saying differently. And I know some people think that the CGI face in the American remake looks weird, but it genuinely scared the shit out of me. It really did. I know it might not look right to people, but the face, when they show Amber Tamblyn's face and how it's all contorted,
in the closet?
Yeah.
I think that's friggin' horrifying. I love it. I
love it too. Whereas in here, it's much more. It just looks like a silent scream, which is still unsettling, but it definitely plays almost more like a mystery thriller than straight up horror.
And I enjoy the movie.
Weird.
And I enjoy the movie. And I'm sorry, Dave. I enjoy the movie. I just think the Ring American version is more of a horror film. And this one, until that last scene where she comes out, I don't really feel like it plays out horror. And I know I'm just being repetitious now, but that's it. That's my feeling of it. But Dave, obviously you're saying interesting because you don't necessarily agree.
What you're saying is kind of the way I would describe another movie we're going to talk about later, the prequel. That's how I feel about Ring Zero, is that it's more thrillerish drama with a horror tinge, and then it gets kind of crazy towards the end. The way you're describing this is the way I feel about that. I believe that because you're used to seeing the American Ring, and you saw the way it unfolded in that movie, and you can't help it. Neither of you, or whatever. I mean, all of us, I suppose, except I don't feel the same way, but you can't help but do that comparison thing. And because you're seeing the way they did it in the American Ring, you're looking at this and saying, oh, wow, that was more horror than this. But I don't know. To me, I don't feel that, but I do feel that this movie was groundbreaking in many ways.
Yeah.
It doesn't get the credit it deserves. I'll tell you that.
You know, you might be right about this. We got to remember this is 98. Of course, obviously, it's, you know, when did the American one come out? 2002?
2002. Yeah, the storytelling in this is great. The ghost story element of this is great.
All the acting is terrific. I know some people have a tough time really deciding whether they know if the acting is good or not in foreign films. But I don't really feel like I've ever had that issue. I really feel like I could watch a foreign film, and even if I don't understand the language they're speaking, I'm just reading the subtitles. I can get whether they're being presented correctly and not being annoying or shitty. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, it's...
Yes. No, I understand.
You know, because a lot of people are like, well, I don't know if it was a good performance because I don't understand what they're saying. But you can tell through just the delivery, you know, even just hearing the sounds and the way they're delivering and their reactions and, you know, the things said, the things done in between the lines, you know, just facial expressions and body language.
Absolutely.
So I thought, you know, the character of Reiko and Ryuji, I'm sorry if I'm butchering these names, and I know they're calling them by their other names. I don't know if they're saying their last names, you know, Asakawa, but I thought they were really well done. I liked the kid in this one. I thought I liked him better in this one, actually, than the kid they have in the American remake. I think the American remake went a little overboard with having him be too out there.
Sixth Sense-y? They wanted to be like a Sixth Sense.
Yeah,
right.
Very much so.
That's the thing. And let me tell you what. The Ring, the American Ring, I will credit it. I do love that movie. And I will give it credit. There are 3 movies that got me back into the genre. And that was one of them. The Ring, Jeepers Creepers. What else? What was the third
Showgirls.
movie? Ginger Snaps was not Showgirl. Ginger Snaps, and there was another one that came out in the early 2000s that made me come back and sit up and take notice and say, you know what? I think horror is coming back. And I remember watching The Ring, and I didn't see it at the theater. I rented the DVD and was very impressed with it. And I watched it a lot. I was like, wow, this is really good stuff. Then the first time I watched Ringu, I really enjoyed that. And for the longest time, I kind of had them about equal. I thought the original Ring was scarier, the Japanese, but I liked the mythology. I like how they explored more in Ring American. But now going back to see this, and it's probably the first time I've watched it in about 3 years, and going back there with the podcast eye, and not watching either one for quite a while now. You know, like I said, 3 years for this, probably about 5 years since the remake. And sitting down and watching it, this took me inside just the right way. I think this movie is groundbreaking, and I'll tell you why it's groundbreaking. I remember when it first appeared at a VHS store, and there was this place called Mondo Video in Buffalo that had it hard to find, you know, not the kind of stuff you're going to get in Video Factory. And I remember seeing it there on the shelf in that close-up of the eye and that cover, and just said Ring. And I remember looking at it and go, this is some Asian movie that I read about in Fangoria. And for some reason, I couldn't rent it because I couldn't get an ID. I forgot the reason. I didn't have my license. Something was wrong that day, and I was unable to get a card. So I never got to see this movie until later on after I saw The Ring. But I always remembered seeing it there and go, oh, look at this, a Japanese horror movie. You know what I mean? But as I'm recalling the time, this is the movie that kicked off all of that stuff, all the J-horror rush and everything. This was the first movie that did that had the long-haired girl, that had, you know, that kicked off the J-horror and that started this type of horror, like a curse that you have to pass on to someone else, which they're still doing today. When did you see something you could pass on until this time? Like even a movie like It Follows now still kind of does the same thing. You get something, and there's another movie too that came out recently, last couple of years, where you get a curse and you can pass it on to someone else to get rid of it. This, I realize that it comes from a book. That's fine, but it's different from the book. But this movie to me is groundbreaking. I think it's a masterpiece. I think this movie is incredible. I 100%. It's hard to put yourself in the time frame of 1998, 1999. I understand that, but for when this dropped, looking back on it now and everything that followed, this became a very influential movie. And
no, you're right. It's a long time ago. I mean, it doesn't. You know, when you say 1998, it doesn't seem that long ago, but we're talking 21 years ago. That's a long time. And I do love some of the things they did with this film. I love the fact that, and you always get a sense of this in most of these Japanese films, whether, you know, in this one it's through seeing the interview footage that Reiko's showing and stuff like that about how this legend grows. So it's not just like automatically there that just everybody knows about it. You sort of see how like the fear spreads. Oh, I heard it from a friend of a friend who goes to a different school, and it just sort of builds this sense of dread around the story. And I also like that they, you know, with the pictures, with the marked faces, they're all like sort of warped and you know, ghoul-like. That I thought was really unsettling, because I loved that more in this one than I did the more of the straight silent scream face.
Oh man, the soundtrack, the score with the strings, the violins, or whatever you want to call it, and the grainy film when they go back and they show certain things. Man, again, I'm gonna keep using the word groundbreaking, but that's how I feel. I don't know. It's me.
It's weird. I feel like the soundtrack for a Japanese horror film, I felt like this one, like, although it's good, I feel like it's a little like understated, like definitely subtle.
That's what's great about it.
Yeah, no, I'll agree with that. It's not in your face. I love the actual video itself. I like the American one too. I found this one very unsettling. The seeing the men dying with the eruption and you know, I don't even know what was going on. With the guy with the towel on his head pointing, very unsettling. The mirror switching sides, and the video itself was really unsettling. And you hear that sound playing over and over, like, you know, whenever someone's being haunted. That it's almost like whispering or whatever.
I love the style, Christian. I know you have something to say. I'm sorry. I'm.
No, I agree. From a story structure, great. And there's nothing wrong with the film. The film is very well made. Like, I thoroughly enjoy it. I'm saying from a horror standpoint, I think the remake is more horrific, personally. Yeah. Personally. But I think the director is very talented, and I love the revelation, the plot twist at the end. It was almost Hitchcockian in the way that she realizes, what did I do differently?
Yeah.
What happened with me? What did I do that he didn't do, and whatever? And I said, when that played out, I'm like, that was very Hitchcock. And you almost couldn't get away with that in an American movie at that time frame. But because maybe it was a foreign film, it works beautifully.
And you had the guy from the tape. You had the guy pointing from the tape, pointing at her bag. And then she pulls out the copy. That was, I agree with you. I really like that part. That was definitely a cool reveal. Of course, we obviously knew it, having seen the remake and knowing the story this many years on, but it still was super effective. Yeah, even knowing it's coming.
No problem with the film. I hope I didn't come across as negative. More just that from a horror movie standpoint, I feel like the remake hit more on the horrific side. But from a ghost story standpoint, yeah, and from a story structure, just the idea of a curse being via videotape. And all of that playing out, and how they link it back to actually make you buy into it and not feel convoluted, is masterful.
Yeah, it's really not convoluted at all. It's actually quite simple for a Japanese horror film. Right. You know, usually they're, you know, I mean, The Grudge it's a great film. I love it, but it can be tough to follow, especially if you're watching for the first time. This is very, very linear. It starts on like September 5th and it ends on September 22nd. I mean, it tells you what day it is. So it's not like, it's not jumping around. You're not going to 50 different people in 50 different timelines.
Again, very Psycho-esque, very Hitchcockian. Yeah. With the time there, just it reiterates a sense of urgency.
I mean, what about the faces and the pics? What a great idea. They take the pictures and they're cursed, so they got that distorted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's weird to talk about this movie now because everybody's seen the American remake and a lot of people have seen this too. So it's not so exciting, but I'm putting myself into that time and saying this was a fresh idea. This was something we haven't seen before. It's anytime now you watch a movie in 2019 and you see something that hasn't been done before, you're excited about it. Like, oh, wow, that's something cool. There's a lot, again, groundbreaking. There are so many things they did in this movie that I hadn't seen before. Granted, I guess you could take the picture aspect and take that from The Omen to a degree. How when you saw the cursed people, they would take the picture and you would see the way they were going to die.
Yeah.
Which was also groundbreaking at its time. It was
or
great.
Back to the Future.
Oh.
Yeah, they weren't warped. They were just disappearing.
Yeah.
They were leaking off the photo.
My sister, where she's gone. What is... Oh man.
Can I ask something? And is it ever explored? Did I miss something? Why does Ryuji, who's the ex-husband and the father of the boy, why is he gifted with these special powers?
He just has the ability. Remember, this is a foreign film, and
I'm okay with that. I just didn't know if it was ever if I missed something where it was explained, or if it's ever explained in other sequel prequels or in the book.
Well, that's one thing about this series that you have to suspend your disbelief a little bit for that part. In this series, it just seems like there's people with these special abilities.
Look, we're talking about a dead girl who was supposedly alive in a well for 28, 30 years. I suspend my disbelief. That's fine. I just didn't know if it was ever explored because, and I was, I guess, kind of caught off when he's at his apartment and they're watching, and she makes him the copy of the video and he's watching it. And then that girl who becomes the main character in part 2, Takano, shows up. Is he dating her or is she genuinely just his assistant?
They don't say that. The implication in the American remake is that that's what's going on here.
Yeah.
That's what I got from this too, though. I got that from this, that they were like lovers.
I can see that.
It
They're
didn't matter
boning.
because they kind of just presented it like she's the assistant who's just looking for her professor's what happened to her professor in the sequel. But
you guys are talking about him having abilities, but in the American movie, the boy just had abilities for no reason. Nobody's questioning that.
yeah, and that's something that American films do, and you usually just either accept it or you dislike it. Whereas usually these films explore everything more. I always find you talked about earlier the American film diving deeper into the mythology, where I always find that to be true of the Japanese films. That's why I asked with this specific character.
Yeah, they don't explain why.
It doesn't hurt the film for me. I like the character.
No, it helps. It's a way to show more that, because otherwise you only get to learn so much about her mother, Shizuku and her father, or her whatever, stepfather, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, because Shizuku clearly has some sort of mental powers, and and Sadako has some even stronger powers, and I love that scene at the demonstration.
Oh, it's great, isn't it?
And I don't want to jump ahead, but I even love the fact that they really just continue on and dive deeper into these characters and the backstory from 1 in part 2.
Yes.
I was a little confused. The old man at the inn, is he the sole surviving cousin that they reference? Is that who he is? Is he Shizuku's cousin? The
what
long
old
gray
man?
The old man at the inn with the long gray hair.
The old man at the inn.
I think his name was like Takashi or something. Takeshi.
I didn't know he was a relative at all. Wow.
I think he's a relative because he talks about her. I think they reference like, sole surviving member or something. I could be wrong.
Well, wait a minute.
Yeah, Sadako's uncle who runs an inn. He's Sadako's uncle. I'm looking at Wikipedia.
His name is Toshiba.
Takashi.
Toshiba.
Yeah, he's a real TV.
Are you talking about
Takashi? He's Sadako's uncle.
Yoshi?
No, Yoshi is the child.
Yoshi is the child. No, I'm talking.
I thought Yoshi was a dinosaur from Mario Brothers.
Yoshi's Island, yes.
No, I'm right.
Wait a minute now.
I'm right.
You're talking about the original place where the kids went and rented the video, where above the well where she was buried?
Yeah, where they go back to at the end, and no one will talk to her. And then she meets him he's talking to him on the beach. Ryuji's talking to him on the beach, and Ryuji whispers that frolics in brine.
Oh yeah.
Something be thine, or whatever it was.
Yeah, goblins be thine.
Yeah, goblins be thine. And yeah, that's Sadako's uncle. So that was Shizuki's brother, evidently. Shizuko's brother. Okay. I'm trying to piece it together because there's a lot of characters, and sometimes it's tough, especially in Asian films, I find, to stay on top of who's who. Because he becomes a pivotal character in part 2 also.
It's all in their eyes.
It's in their eyes?
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I like the relationship. I like the relationship between Asakawa and what's his name? Ryuji, whatever it is.
That's fine.
Right. No, I like the way it worked. It's like later on when they're talking, and he really cares for her. You can see that there's something there, but something's off. But he's like, we never should have had a child. And you're talking later, but at the same time, he's doing everything he can to still protect both of them.
Oh,
it's there's something beneath the surface there, and we don't get the whole backstory, and we don't need it. See, that's the thing in the American remake, and that's typical of American films, that they have to explain everything. That's what I like about this. They don't have to explain it. You just watch the movie. It is what it is. And in the remake, he says, remember, he approaches him at that one point and goes, I just wasn't ready to be a father or something, he tells him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Especially in a relationship like this, it's more mysterious, what really happened. And you can see that there's sadness and pain and regret and all these emotions in both of their faces and the way they talk to each other. But they still share the common joy of having the boy, and that's what brings them together. Obviously, is to save him.
Right, and when she's ready to give up, he's not. He's like, no.
Oh, yeah, he gives her a nice, good slap to the face.
Right.
He's like, bitch, get your shit together, get in the well, and start filling buckets.
Yeah, man, he pushes it. He's like, come on, we gotta save the boy.
She pulled an absolute Dave and was like, what's the point?
Yeah, she did. She did say, what's the point? Oh, that's great. I do like the idea that her father wasn't human.
That's great. I even wrote that in my notes. Maybe her father wasn't human.
I dig that.
That's a great line.
Dude, something is up. This is like Lovecraftian shit again, because you see her talking to something that it's all about the sea. It's all about in the water. So there's creatures in the water, and you see that what's her name? That her mother, Shizuku, she was talking to the sea in a language that her husband said wasn't human. So she has some type of conversation with these freaking beings in the sea, and she's got the same thing, with the sea. So it's like there's something going on there. And again, they don't dig too deep into it. They touch upon it more in the sequel and the prequel. But I mean, I like the fact that they leave things out there. They just kind of say something and they just leave it at that. I do like the American remake when they explore everything. What's up with the horses? What's up with the volcano? What's up with every little thing, the ladder, and everything they show in the video? That is fun for that kind of movie. I get that. But for this movie here, just with the source material they had of the book and, with Nakata getting this orchestrated, I think they do it perfectly here. I don't know. And coming out of the TV at the end, it's just epic stuff. I mean,
icing on the cake. That is scary shit. Good effect. Right. That's where the true horror comes out, because they only tease you with it throughout.
I like it, and here's just the one thing I just like that the American version did a little more. And I know I talked to a friend about this, and he said, "Well, she's a ghost, not a zombie," and it's still it doesn't matter either way, but. Why wasn't she wet?
She wasn't horny enough.
You missed the spot.
Wet, huh?
Hashtag me too.
Because she's coming out of the well. That's clearly where this vengeful spirit is born. Especially when we learn later on watching the prequel. Because in this one we just get the image of the doctor, Dr. Kuma, bashing Sadako and dumping her into the well. But we learn later on in the sequels and prequels that, she's alive down there. And
well, there you go. There's your answer. She's alive down there for 30 years.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that her ghost, when it finally does come out, wouldn't be wet because she was freaking dry for 28 years.
But she's down there in the water, is what I'm saying. Like
she's down there, but she's trying to climb out. You can see them freaking the
fingernails and that's even more the reason why I asked, because you see her presented in this, as this tortured spirit trying to escape there, ripping her nails off, trying to climb the sides of the well, which clearly she's wet in. So it's a minor quibble. I think people get the impression that I hate the movie when I ask all these things or point out things that I'm like, oh, why didn't they just do this? But just for the sake of conversation,
you're right.
Just a little.
I get you. I do get you. Maybe it would have been cooler if she was wet.
I want a bumper sticker that says that.
Be a lot cooler if she was wet. Yep. I don't know. I never thought about it. So she was wet in the American, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, she was a soggy swamp monster in the American version.
The Soggies. Yeah, I can barely remember that part.
But no, I mean, it's still effective, and of course the way she decides to have Yochi pass on the tape at the end, who they decide to use. Oh man, brutal.
Yeah, man.
Oh man, that's like, do you think she asked him and told him what was going on, and the grandpa was like, of course, or do you think she just was like, Grandpa, watch this?
Yeah, I know, right? I don't know. I was thinking about that. I mean, we're not at that movie yet, but
my impression is that nothing was ever said because of the fact that Yochi is silent in part 2.
Well, why would the tape be there?
Well, no, they show it to the grandfather, but my point is that the mother forces him to, and doesn't say anything to her father.
Really? She's gonna kill her father for no reason
to save her son? I think so. Yeah.
Why though? Why couldn't she just pass it on? That doesn't make any sense. Why would you know what I mean? If you have a kid and you gotta pass it on to somebody, okay, let's call Dad. Okay, you're not gonna say, "Hey, Dad, now you gotta get this thing and whatever, give it to somebody else." You're just gonna say, fuck them, whatever. I don't know. That's crazy. Would you kill your father for no reason? To save your kid, and that's it?
I didn't even think about that. But why wouldn't he be talking to his mother? Because she even references that he blames her for Grandpa's death. Man. I mean, we're starting to mix movies, but yeah, I didn't even think of that, because if she could have been like, here, you watch this and show it to Bob down the street later.
Right, show it to a classmate for all I care. I don't care who you show it to. Right,
show it to a classmate.
You know what I mean? Just don't show it to my. I mean, if you are this woman, who are the people you are closest to? Your child, your parents, and maybe your significant other. Well, your significant other's been whacked. That's the end of him. You want to save your child. I don't think that the guy you're going to sacrifice is your father. I don't know.
That leaves a little, I didn't even think of that. That leaves a little bit of...
yeah, but don't... I know what you're thinking, but you can't hold that against this movie. That's not a strike against this movie, because that's when this movie ends, I'm just assuming it's going to be passed on. You know what I mean? That they're going to tell him.
You always look at it going back, basing it off of sequels and franchise. I know. It's a solo movie. Just like when we reviewed Halloween, I'm like, how do you know he was following his sister? You're like, it's not his sister. Yeah, I'm like, fuck, you're right. How did I not realize that? Cause
yeah, man, you can't judge that. We'll get to 2 when we get to it. For right now, as 1, I'm just saying, don't make that as a strike against this film, because.
Yeah. And how cool was that video library? I want to know what those other tapes were.
Oh, probably porno.
Yeah. Like tentacle porn.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Or hentai. And people listen going, how is he spouting off so many different variations of Japanese porn so quickly?
Nice. Well, I can tell you what, it's all censored.
It is. They have blurred genitals. That's why they aren't taken very, very seriously.
Isn't that crazy? Blurred genitals in porno.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's ridiculous. Do they show the money shot or no?
I don't know. I think
I always shut it off.
I think they just show the face after the week of watching the video, just the expression on the face, that silent scream.
That's how Japanese porn ends, like the shot in the ring. Ah. Amazing. Oh man. Okay, listen. I'm more curious about what you guys are gonna say than me, because I'm way high on the film. I'm way high on it. So I want to know where you guys are first.
Well, although I mean, you guys did most of the talking here. Like I said, solid ghost story, great ideas, fast paced. It's an 8 out of 10.
That's a solid score.
Yeah, that's fair with me.
I gotta be honest. Dave, talked me up a little bit with some things, especially with perspective. It is important, and especially when reviewing films for the sake of others, maybe checking them out for the first time, to look at it as a standalone film, especially when you have a franchise which builds this whole world around it, and then you can go back and find faults in earlier ones. But I was actually a tiny bit lower than where Christian was, but you talked me up to a solid 8 out of 10. I just want to say I love the scene when she finds her in the well and she pulls the hair off and it's the skeleton. That's a really cool scene.
Oh, isn't it?
Love that.
Yes.
Yeah. But no, really, really solid film. I was probably like in the 7.5 range, but solid 8. With this conversation.
Nice. Wow. Well, as for me, I'm way high on it. Just watching, this is like the 6th or 7th time I've seen this movie, and just watching it this time, I was like, you know what? This movie is just again, it's very influential. For when it came out, I wish I would have seen it back in 98 in the early days. I wish I would have seen it when it first dropped to truly get the experience. But I try to put myself, in that perspective of, when it came out and what was happening, the scope of the horror genre. And man, I don't know, something about this movie, to me, this comes off as an all-time classic now. Seeing what it spawned, seeing how it became the American Ring, and how the American Ring became this freaking larger-than-life thing in the States that was like spoofed all over the place, and the girl coming through the TV, and the long-haired girl, and all that stuff is all synonymous now. It's all because of this movie. This movie is huge. To me, it's a classic movie in the horror genre, and it just, watching it this time at all, just hit me the right way. And I'm 100% on it. I love it. I think it's a masterpiece, and I'm all in, man.
So 7? So 7?
10 out of 10, man. 10, 10, 10. I love it.
I keep hearing 7.
It's like, dude, no. I have a big 3 Asian movies, okay? I'm wrong. Now it's a big 4. This belongs right up there for me.
Christian's got a big 4 in his pants.
Give or take an inch.
We got Battle Royale. We got Tale of Two Sisters, Ju-on the Grudge, and we have this. To me, are the big 4. You got the Fab 4 for the French. Well, you got the big 4 for Japan. Well, not all Japan, whatever, but still, to me, this goes right along with them. I think this movie is fantastic. So I'll shut up about it now. But
that's
man,
cool.
No, that's cool. Awesome. And I kind of suspected it.
Did you really?
Well, you've always blew this series.
No.
Sounds like
Ju-on.
Sounds like he's doing it right now. In my mouth. And it came in my mouth.
Please don't mix the
Yeah, he's always been blowing Ju-on, but
yeah, Ju-on's my jam. Yes. Ring, like I've always really liked this movie, and I've only seen the other ones once, so it's not for me to really say until tonight. But no, Ju-on is my series. Those first 4 movies, I'll tell you what, love it.
Get your Ju-on.
But yeah, maybe we get to talk about them someday. Maybe it'll be a Patreon perk. I don't know. But anyway, let's move on, shall we?
all right. So we want to jump into a triple R.
Let's do it. What's the triple R, B?
Let's go right into 2010's Devil. This one is written by M. Night Shyamalan, but directed by John Eric Dowdle. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I hope I am. A group of people are trapped in an elevator, and the devil is mysteriously amongst them.
Nice. You know what? I forgot to say who these movies are for.
Go ahead.
These movies are for everyone.
They are for everyone, but for the sake of the Patreon picks, Kevin Corpy picked the Ring trilogy. Devil here is from Gary, and Starry Eyes is from our homie Scott.
The other movie you were referencing is a pirate movie called Starry Eyes.
I was combining triple R's and Starry Eyes. Starry Eyes. Nice.
I've watched this movie a lot since 2010, and I've always loved it. The performances, the contained horror. Donanelli gave it 1 star on his Letterboxd. 1 star. I couldn't be further away from that. Well, I guess it could be a little further away from that. But I'm so far away from that. It's shocking to me. He said there was next to no tension. And I think this is filled with tension. I just love everything about it. It does have a little of the M. Night forceness to it. The only way I can explain it is if you've seen, well, any one of his films, but I'll take Glass, for instance, as one of his most recent. He always seems to have a character that spouts the most exposition-driven dialogue.
It's usually him.
Yeah, and it's true. We do have that here. It's not quite as heavy-handed in this movie, but my overall feelings are very positive for this film. I think it's tension-filled. I love the build. It's fast-paced. It's only an hour and 20 minutes. It's in, it's out, it's done. And it's great.
You're clearly talking about Ramirez, basically narrating, the story that his grandmother used to tell him.
Which is fun, because that's all he's doing is narrating the story that his grandmother's telling him.
Yeah, but do you feel like it becomes heavy-handed, especially when the cop
with
Markowitz
the link
to ask him, hypothetically, if this story were true, how would it play out? And he's like, oh, in the story.
Yeah.
That's
a M. Night. That's a M. Nighty. We'll call that an M. Nighty.
I love that. I'm a huge M. Night fan. I really am. And I enjoy this film a lot. I don't know if I'm going to be as high as you are, but it's got my boy Logan Marshall Green in there, who's really becoming just a huge actor now. I mean, he did Upgrade, which was phenomenal. Of course, he did The Invitation, which honestly, I've been thinking about this for a while. It might be my favorite film since 2000 in terms of horror-esque. I know it might not be straight up horror, but
we know you love it.
Yeah, I really do, and it's all because of his performances and the performances of that cast. And you could tell even in this one, I don't think he gets to shine as much as he could have. He's a talented guy. And I do there are some solid actors in here. I do think it misses the mark in some areas, specifically within the story of, going so deep within the existence of a devil and all that. And it doesn't bring up the existence of a god until the last sentence of the movie. And at that point, just hearing that makes a lot of the actions that happen within the film kind of doubt whether that would even be true, which I don't like. If you're going to go all in with a devil being real, then God has to be real, and certain things in the movie shouldn't have happened or should have played out differently. And I'm talking specifically with the innocent people who were trying to help getting killed. They should have been saved miraculously at the last second.
Yeah, but that's not how it works, because then you can always question, why does a war exist? Because if there's a God, why is there famine, and why is there war, and why is there? So I totally hear you, but I love that kicker of the last line. It's great, because if all this evil exists, then that means there is a God.
Yeah. But maybe I just like the idea of here, the devil's playing a game with his victims, like God is around, making sure he's playing fair. Would have been kind of like a cool little thing. Dwight, who goes down to fix the elevator, falls, and, I don't know if he impales himself or breaks his neck or whatever, but somehow if he had survived in that fall, and it's it's unexplainable to fall that far, he should have broken every bone in his body, and somebody said oh, there must have been something else at play here. That would have been
Well, there's a couple of, I mean, the forcedness of some of the script elements of like the girlfriend of the mechanic that's going in for a job interview. Oh, he came in, he didn't know what to do with his tools. Like, that seemed all very, why did they even have to worry about him going off frame with the tools and everything like that? It just seemed kind of weird. And the fact that she had to bring that up. Like,
he could have brought the tools with him, but yeah, I get it. They needed a way to have the reveal of the tools be like, could he have done all this with the elevator with that, just for that one little, like, oh my God, it might be him. But I know.
That was a forced exposition dialogue moment, which I'm okay with. I'm just saying, there's another example. Oh, I had another one too, but it just escaped me now as well. As I mentioned, I've probably watched this, I don't want to say the most out of any film, because I think the Friday the 13th has still eclipsed this, but from a newer film, from a movie that was been made in the last 10 years, I've probably watched this the most out of a lot of the newer films. I don't know, it just is an easy watch. I find it very satisfying. It's well filmed. I do love that opening with the upside down shots. It just kind of sets it off great.
It's a great shot. It's a sense of dread from the beginning. Here it is. We're entering a world where it's turned upside down and shit's about to go down. It's almost literal in what it's saying, that shot, and it looks cool.
And when it's revealed of who the devil is, it's rather terrifying and creepy. Like, so, I mean, there's some moments of tension and creepiness here. Every time the light starts to flicker, there's a sense of dread.
Yeah. The few things that I would have liked, because they talk about the story. And sorry, Dave, feel free to hop in at any moment. Just tell us to shut up.
Yeah,
but,
we're doing the opposite now.
Yeah, they talk about a suicide brings about the presence of the devil, and then the wicked are punished. That's like one of the lines in the film. So that original suicide with the guy jumping out the building, I would have liked to have known who that was and why he committed suicide. And I'm thinking he was probably a victim of, why am I forgetting the character's
Cutting
name?
room floor? I'm thinking he's a victim of them maybe trying to tighten up the pace of the movie. I bet you anything there's a longer version of this movie that explains who that guy is in more detail. It's
I'm thinking he's a victim of, what's his name? Of the salesman, Vince.
The guy in the elevator, right?
Yeah. The Ponzi scheme, yeah.
That was going to go up to see him?
To be a good actor. I like him a lot. He's married to, oh my God, what's her name? The super hot redhead from Mad Men with the huge boobs.
Jessica Chastain?
Yeah.
No, you know.
I know she's a redhead. That's all I know.
What's her name?
That's what I thought, actually, Dave. But I guess I'm.
It's only redhead I know.
Christina Hendricks.
Oh, Christina Hendricks from Neon Demon. Wow.
Yeah, he's married to Christina Hendricks. Yeah, and he happens to be a good actor. And I almost wish, not only would I like to have known, which I can buy, that it was a victim of him, because I believe the letter that they get that says Vince McCormick on it, when they realize that's him who's trying to sell these mattresses in the elevator, I believe that's the office that he jumped from, this guy. So maybe he was waiting to have a meeting with him or something.
But it would have been nice to have like one little connection.
Yeah, but also I would have liked, because M. Night does these films where it's almost like everything, a lot of things become a twist, where if maybe they almost presented all the characters in a way where they were likable. You got a sense from the very beginning that everybody in this elevator was guilty. And they really only present the mechanic, Tony, as really the only likable guy.
See, I think they build on that. Like, at first you don't know anything about anybody, and as they build, really you just think the mattress salesman's a little bit obnoxious. And I love the temp security guard and how they build on that. And
he's got an attitude. He seems nasty. He looks nasty. Everybody just, and Vince is very conniving. And the old lady is just very very rude, and the other one is very hoity-toity. The rich one who keeps marrying and divorcing rich husbands, and you just get the sense where it's like, if you're presented with these like 5 characters who just look like, oh my God, I really feel for these guys. What's going on? Why is this happening? How can this be? Again, it's all in the title too, so you kind of get a sense that you're probably not going to be dealing with likable characters simply from watching a movie called Devil.
To me, this says everything, because you guys know how I feel about the show. This to me is like a extended version of a Twilight Zone episode, and that's what it's always reminded me of. That's why
in a good or bad way.
No, in a good way.
Okay.
When I say Twilight Zone, it's almost always going to be complimentary, you know.
Okay,
but,
I just didn't know if you meant like it overstayed its welcome.
I see what you're saying.
Should have been a short.
No.
Okay.
But it was still short. That's what was smart about it.
Yeah.
This would have been an hour 40 movie. It would have overstayed its welcome. But it's like you said, it's $1.20. Boom, 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 in and out. You get everything you know. And that's what I own this movie. This is the second time I've seen it though. I think I blind bought it. And so this is the second time I've watched my Blue. Yeah, I enjoy it. The thing is, the only complaint I have, and it's not really a complaint, it's just something I'm going to say, an observation, I suppose. I can't see myself watching this a whole lot of times, unless maybe I'm watching it with people that haven't seen it before. But I don't know about the rewatch value because of the mystery, which, by the way, I figured out halfway through the movie where it was going to go. And I was like, which is cool. It's nice when I figure it out, but then sometimes I'm like, oh, well. Then the second time I was like, okay.
You figured out who was the devil?
Yeah, I figured out who was the devil like halfway through. Because I used deduction. I was like, well, who would I think wouldn't be? Because that's where I would go if I'm writing.
It's almost like who's the most unassuming.
Right. That's where I'm going as I'm writing it. I'm thinking of that. So what is it going to be? You know what I mean?
But don't they fuck you up with the way that the movie plays out? They kind of shit on your whole theory?
True, but not really, because if that is so, what is revealed makes perfect sense. If you take somebody out of an equation, you know what I mean? Then I get what you're saying.
We're trying not to spoil a movie that's 9 years old,
but still,
and it's respectable,
okay. But
respectable.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know what I said the first time.
But towards the end of the movie, when it got down to the nitty gritty there, it wouldn't have made sense for me for either of those characters to be that way. So that's when my mind started going. I didn't think about that other person doing it until much later in the film, when I said to myself, okay, here's what they're gonna do. All fingers are pointing to everybody here. If you're gonna try to do something really cool with your movie, this is what you should do. And they did, and he did. If you're gonna give Shyamalan the credit, that's fine. I get it. So he did a good job. He did what I would have done if I was writing it. So that's fine. But I still guessed it. You know what I mean? So yeah. I don't know if that impacts me the second time around or not, but I still enjoyed it. As far as what you guys were saying earlier about the devil and God not being there, the thing is, this is what the devil gets to do every so often. It doesn't happen much, but when it does happen, it's talked about. That's why there's that little speakeasy thing going on with the Latino guy talking about it and everything else. But, I mean, they're not going to advertise God's miracles. How many times do you hear that, there was a bad delivery and this child shouldn't survive the night and it's one of God's miracles? You could say many things are God's miracles that happen, a lot of near misses. So they don't have to point every little one out. So why can't God have his little interventions in the world and Satan have his at the same time? I dig it. I do dig it. I'm praising the movie. I do enjoy it. I just don't know about the rewatchability for me. Mm-hmm. And again,
it's an easy watch. That's it.
Yes,
I'm not saying like I know the reveal now, but I enjoy the ride, and I enjoy that factor and the fact that it's a quick in and out. I don't know why I've rewatched it so many times, but I have.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I don't know the reason why yet. Like I said, I think this is now my 5th time watching the movie.
I honestly might have seen it around that many times too, and even though I feel like I'm not praising it as much as you, I still enjoy it, and I'm always thinking about like what could have made it even better. And like
absolutely.
you said, some of the things were forced. The devil always kills the last person in front of the last victim in front of the person they love most. Felt a little forced, but then mm-hmm. At the end of that line it says to make cynics of us all. It's almost like to recruit more people to the dark side. It's like really, really kind of cool, actually. But I almost wish that Ramirez, our, narrator, and what was the cop's name? I keep forgetting.
I don't know, but that Logan, but
Markowitz.
That's the best part of the film for me. This time around, As I'm going into it, I'm thinking, okay, the people are in the elevator. I know how it's going to turn out. I know it's going to be some cool stuff with tension that I probably forgot about. But to me, the best parts of the film was everything on the outside of the elevator, which is it's complimentary for me to say that.
No,
Because,
they're
you know what
all
I
very
mean?
good. They're all very
Yes,
good. But I
his
wish
character
with
in that
these
Mexican
two
guy.
characters specifically, I wish they were not privy to seeing the devil do its deed in the end. I wish that they did not get to see how it played out in the end in the elevator, and that there was some sort of rational explanation in the end for everybody except for who was in the elevator.
Yeah,
So this way, then it
That would be
becomes
cool.
sort of like a test of blind
yeah.
faith for him to forgive Tony.
There's a bit of a stretch there that they're together, but again, I'm accepting of it.
Well, that makes sense though. That's the devil's design. So
Exactly. I know.
Yeah,
I mean,
which I really actually like about that.
I do like that. I just don't think. I think the confession was kind of a forced thing.
that
I think they were.
well, that's where I'm going. Sorry, let me clarify.
Yeah.
That's where I'm going with it, Dave. Is
Right.
that part of it? However,
Yep.
it was done in a very quick way, so a forced way to get that confession out.
Yes and no. Yes, it was quick and it does feel kind of forced, but I feel like his acting is really so strong that you just get a sense just from looking at him in the elevator throughout the whole film that he is genuinely remorseful and that he's carried this with him for 5 years. It shows on his face that he's just clearly unhappy, and he went off to, I think he talks about being in Iraq. And so he's you could see he's an unhappy guy.
Yeah, I can buy that.
Yeah.
So I do like that about him.
Agreed.
And the one thing that we didn't mention that I really, really love that I don't know why I never really paid attention to this much. They're trying to check the sign-in sheets to see who didn't sign in.
Oh yeah.
And they think that the old woman signed in because they think her name is Jane Kowski. And then it turns out that that's his last name, Janikowski. I was like, holy shit, I don't think I've ever really paid attention to it, but that's actually a really cool little little twist. Tony Janikowski.
Yeah.
I really like that this time. So it was it's like you said, it's a short, entertaining film. It's not my favorite M. Night film. I know he didn't direct it, but it's certainly,
there's something about it that I'm just intrigued by, and by no means, there's not a 10 out of 10. Like it's not a perfect film by any means, and like I said, we've always said there's no film that's perfect, but you'll say perfect to me or whatever. Yeah. I'm at like an 8.5. I'm just saying it's a very solid film for me.
Wow, I'm wow.
Yeah, it's cool. I'm happy for him.
I am too. I mean, I really do enjoy it, but I and you've actually talked me up, Christian, for the first 2 movies now. I've been talked up, but it's a solid 7 for me.
And I'm glad it's a 7.
Yeah.
And I'm a little higher. I'm at that. I threw that quarter in there. I'm 7 1/4.
Oh wow! Wow!
I shaved the balls and the shaft, and I gave it that 1/4-inch curve.
Nice. There is something funny I want to point out though. Something that happened in the movie when remember that one scene when the girl gets stabbed with that thing, and they think that it's the one guy that did it, the freaking, the shady guy, the business.
Oh yeah, in her back, where she thinks she got bit on the back.
Right, and the lights go off, and it happens, and he goes, "Hold on a second, hold on, I wrote it down here." Oh, okay, the lights went on, and then they looked at it, and he says, "Oh," he goes, "They see that there's blood on him near his body, like on his person, and it was also on him." And then the old lady looks at him, and he's like, "Oh, she's slamming to me." And then she goes, "So you cut her?" She said. They got this there and go, "She slandered me, so you cut her?" Oh, that was great.
Matt Craven, who plays the other security guard, very likable. Like,
yes,
that's what they managed to wedge in. So you're talking about maybe the people on the elevator not being likable for you, but the ones that are outside of the elevator are quite likable.
Yeah, and it's not that they're not likable on the elevators. I mean, they're not supposed to be likable. I almost wish it was a little bit more concealed for the sake of, like, reveal. Like, the devil, like, it's almost like, why is the devil messing with these genuinely good people where the secrets come out a little slower? But again, we're only talking about 80 minutes. But I did absolutely like the acting, especially with the characters outside as well, because Usually in these types of movies, when a cop comes in and talks with security guards, usually like, go get me a cup of coffee, asshole. Whereas here, like, everybody was sort of involved and everyone was getting along, and it just felt like, it felt more genuine. So,
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. I'm glad you guys, everybody liked it at least. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Love M. Night. Big M. Night guy.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. All right.
Ring 2.
What a title.
Ring 2.
1 year later, 1999.
I'm really curious about this, what you guys are going to say about this movie.
I'm trying to look for a decent short description here, because they're all kind of...
Short, long, who gives a fuck?
Okay, Ring 2 takes place a couple of weeks after the first film, directly continuing the story, and features most of the cast from Ring reprising their roles. I'm just going to leave it at that, because the IMDb description is sort of like a summary of the whole movie. And I think, obviously we'll talk about it, so they'll get an idea of the continuation.
Well, although I love the ghost story aspect of the first one more, this plays out much more like a horror film. And I actually think I preferred it. And not only that, I love how they worked the sequel in, of the direct continuation, taking characters from the first. I love that aspect.
I like that too.
Now, the story, don't get me, the ghost story the component, much stronger in the first one, because it is the setup. It underlines everything. But this movie is such a cool follow-up.
Yes.
I could tell, I feel like I'm by myself here by saying it's my preference to the
I gotta
two.
be honest, I said that to somebody because I was watching this as I was kind of texting people, and I said I think I prefer part 2 to part 1. As I was watching it, in the end, I'm not so sure I feel that way. I did feel like some things became a little wonky for me, but there are a lot of positives here, especially the way it started. I love that we just go right into like the morgue and the whole reveal that the body of Sadako has only been dead for a year and a half or 2, yet she's been in that well for 30 years. So like that's immediately just like
a Jason.
Yeah, that's freaky as hell. Like, what was she eating down there for 28 years?
Crayfish.
She bred crayfish for 28 years. The mother and child, Reiko and Yoichi, have disappeared. We learn about the well being on the doctor's property, and that he died recently after he sold it, and then it picks up with Takano, the assistant / girlfriend of the father from part 1, sort of trying to find out what happened, and we go from there into a whole new investigatory process.
Investigatory? What the fuck?
Is that a word?
Yeah, I'll take it. Which at first you're kind of like going, really? We're focusing on her? But it works.
It does.
I can tell Dave was like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? It's better than the first movie. You fucking crazy. Enlighten us.
No. It's really, what good sequels do is what it did. This is a tale of two halves, as far as I'm concerned. What you see in the first half, and then what you see in the second half.
Are you torturing someone there, Dave? There's something new.
That is actually Mortal Kombat.
It sounds like somebody in a well.
Yeah.
Investigatory is a word, by the way.
Yeah, look it up.
I didn't know. I said it, and I'm like, what did I just say?
Masturbatory. That's all I thought.
That's a dessert.
No, listen. What they did to begin this movie made sense. Sometimes you have to take those, those characters that are, supporting characters in the first movie and make them into your leads. And I get that. And you go along the same mythology, and you film it the same way. You had that same style. I respect that. I respect everything they did for the first half. Then it gets weird, and then they bring back the character. They bring back Asakawa and Yoichi from part 1 in the weirdest of ways, and don't explain why.
True, they just appear. It seems. Yeah.
They just appear, and it doesn't make sense why they disappear. Why are they going to disappear if they're just going to appear them? Why didn't he go to school for all that time? And it's never explained. You think that they're missing, and all of a sudden they show up. So you have that happening. I can overlook that, but that's where it starts to get, a little weird. But where it goes in the third act, it almost takes it to Exorcist 2 level.
In a negative way with the water shit. I liked it. I actually liked it, but I can't disagree with you. It's absurd, but the movie plays out more horrific.
It's definitely more of a horror film, but it just became a little bit too what's that? What's going on? Why are they doing this?
Part 3 or part 0 that was the one that did that to me. And we'll get there.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is the one that did it for me. Like, I like Takano's character, but why all of a sudden is she blessed with these powers now?
Right. There you go.
I mean, and that happened pretty early on, and I was still enjoying it very much, but all of a sudden she gets the vision, and that's how they find Asakawa and Yoshi. Is she has these powers, and she's able to find him. She has the sense of Yoshi calling her, and she finds him randomly in the street.
Yeah, it's unexplained. It's just
very unexplained. And there's even a scene where she's reminiscing, and having flashbacks to her and Ryuichi, and then there's a scene where she sees him on a bench, and he tells her like the new power won't help her or something, and that's an odd scene too. Yeah, it becomes a little confusing, a little early, and only goes further downhill in that sense.
It's funny. The more we're only at the beginning here, I might have to renege on what I said earlier because I do agree with you guys a bit. I was enjoying parts of this movie, and I think at the end of the day, I was like, you know what, this is more enjoyable from a horrific standpoint than the first. But no, maybe from a story structure, the first is a more solid film.
Yeah, I mean, this one tries to be like the first. I mean, she goes to Reiko's workplace, and she gets herself a reporter to investigate with. So they're like the new Reiko and Ryuji, the Okazaki guy who interviews that student who he ultimately screws in the end because she watches the tape and she says, I'll give you the tape, but you got to promise to watch it within the week and keep passing it on because she doesn't want to die. But then he locks it in his drawer, and it almost becomes like a separate movie with those two.
I really wanted to love it. I'd seen it before, and I remember thinking that I enjoyed it, and I knew that I liked it more than Ring 2 from freaking the States, which was a freaking steaming turd. So I knew that. But going back to revisit it this time, it started off strong, and then it slowly got, I don't know, I just fell out of it because it had the same style, same director. It hit a lot of the same beats. I thought we were on our way here, and then it's just like it got convoluted. It's like they're throwing all kinds of stuff in that they didn't need to.
Exactly.
That's the worst problem. They didn't need to do that. They didn't do that in the first movie. The first movie was an A to B with a good story. Yeah. This went to freaking A to B to let's throw all these different things against the wall. It was almost like an American sequel.
Yeah, they threw in this idea that everybody who was around people who died who were still alive had this sort of psychic energy
power
now.
Yeah, like the girl from the beginning of part 1.
Exactly.
The survivor,
and they're trying to remove her psychic energy using water, and it just becomes like what? And I just kind of it kind of lost me.
I can't disagree. I want to say, but it's still effective, but in scenes. But overall, maybe not so much.
Well, in the second and the third, it's more about virus, but done in a different way. The first movie, it's done in a video. Pardon me. The first book, it's done videotape, and then the second book, it's done by the printed word. And in the third movie, it has something to do with computers or some ridiculous type of thing. I can't even explain what it is, but they were doing something. So the inclusion, I believe, of that stuff with the water had something to do with something from the books. Because, again, you'll see that this is based upon the book. In the credits, that's what it says. So I maybe Hideo Nakata was trying to incorporate more book stuff into the second movie. I don't know why. Maybe to do a solid because the guy that wrote what's his name, Koji, I forget his name, but the guy that wrote the original books, Suzuki. Okay, maybe he wanted to do more because he did a lot of stuff from the first movie, but then he put his own spin on it. Maybe he wanted to incorporate some of that in here, and he just overcompensated or something. I don't know, because you still see the talent there. And if you watch the other movie, if you watch Razin, which was, and it came out shortly after the original Ring. That's the weird thing. Ring came out, and then Razin came out shortly after. And then Nakata and company went back to work on the other sequel, which came out a year later. And they said, okay, well, this is the official sequel. They went right to it. But if you look at Razin, and it's not, doesn't have any of the production values, and it's also kind of weird in its own way. And I only seen it one time, and I wasn't necessarily. I remember preferring this one to it, and I probably still do. I have to watch that one again now that I have the new Era Blu-ray set. I will watch them all, but I don't know. I don't know if they were trying to do stuff like the book, but it's unfortunate because everything is there again. It's the same director. They're hitting a lot of the same beats. The production looks the same. The sound sounds the same. It's a great jump off from the original, but like I said, where they go into the third act, I was drifting. There was some, and then the sad part is there's good shots. There's some good shots of her climbing up the well and this and that, right? Good creepy atmosphere, good stuff. However, it's marred with a freaking clay-faced Sadako. What the hell were they doing? And then it spoke when they had the clay face. You remember that? It was almost laughable.
I almost don't mind that though, because it was the clay remodeling of her face that they built that the uncle takes to bury at sea, and that's what resurfaces in the pool. So it kind of makes sense when they go into the pool and see it that it would be. All right, I side with you, even though I didn't mind it. I get it now. Thinking about it and just speaking, the whole psychic. I'm sorry, just the psychic energy and the psychic projection onto blank tapes, and then Yoichi's ability to manifest Shizuko and Sadako, and Takano's ability to neutralize that. It's like what? Like, just stick with the story you had. It was basic, but it was effective.
Yep.
Just another version of the tape was out there.
Okay, but please tell me you don't. I really hope you don't prefer the third one to this, or the zero to this. But we'll get there. I don't
know why you're so anti. Okay, we'll get there.
Well, I'll go ahead and say it. I really don't know what you got against the third one.
It's boring, and I feel like it's a contradiction of what they set up. But maybe I'm missing something. Wasn't she a kid? Wasn't she a fucking kid in the well? And now suddenly she's like...
They explained that in the third one.
Explain that.
Wedge.
Yeah, but still, I mean, they did a good job. Okay, Ring 2. It really starts good. You get the thing with the corpse and the hair dripping down. It's haunting the friggin' guy. And it's kind of funny because for some reason, when the girl sees the tape in the bathtub, it makes her puke, which I found ridiculous. Why would you puke after seeing a freaking mangled video?
Was it like melded in with like human remains though?
Oh, is it human remains?
Oh, maybe I'm wrong, but it was like all like fucked up.
Oh well,
This was the one that had Christian's funny that woman's face that he froze when the friend forces her image onto the TV.
When the survivor of the first movie decides that she's going to wreak like havoc on like the old age home or whatever. I mean, it's a mental institution. And that woman's like, oh, it was fucking mwah.
It was a funny face, but it didn't make sense. Why does Masami all of a sudden have psychic energy, and why is she's walking with a curtain, and all of a sudden she says, "I don't want the curtain. I'm gonna go look at the TV," and then she projects her image of the tape onto there, even though she never saw the tape.
Usually, you guys don't talk me down. Usually, I'm like, I made my decision
because I wasn't that long.
I made my decision, and I don't care, and I liked it more than. But you know what? Yeah, I can admit, like, what I'm hearing you guys, and you're right. You're reiterating stuff that I thought about while watching it, but my enjoyment was still there. But it's fucking ridiculous.
It's only simplicity to this story is the reporter getting the tape from the girl, and the way that plays out, even though it feels like a completely different movie. In fact, it is similar to a different Japanese film, very similar, especially the way it ends for his character, and that last scene is actually pretty cool. That's the only time we actually see the tape.
Yeah, it's not about the tape anymore. I guess it's more about the curse.
Yeah, but the curse
You
just
know?
it just becomes too psychic energy and astral projection and all this. I don't know what's
I
going.
hear you. I think I blame the book. I think I blame excerpts from the book.
Yeah.
The influence of it, I think, is what happened here. I don't know. That's the best I have. But I like that stuff with the girl in the hospital. I think it was done well with the survivor. She doesn't want to see the TV. All that stuff was cool. And then when she goes up and all the people are freaking out, making the faces and collapsing, that was good stuff, man. I like that.
Yeah, but if they had
I was on board.
explained it, like why all this, why like not
Because she's
not
touched by the curse. Even
not
though she didn't see it directly, I don't need that deep of an explanation. Her life has been affected directly by she saw her friend dying. She saw that look on her face, and I don't know. It just it did things to her. You know, it's a curse. I don't I'm okay with that. I don't need to be over explained for that. That's
I don't know.
fine.
Kinda
You know
goes
what I
with
mean?
Super
No,
low.
no, B. I get what you're saying. It's not enough. I'm just saying that I can give it a pass. I guess you know what I
Yeah.
mean. Just for the sake of movie magic and for a cool scene or whatever. I can dig that. It wasn't like a major thing that it wasn't like a major plot point of the film. It was just kind of a cool little thing they threw in there. It was like they put that in the American Ring. They put that scene in there, but not so much. They just showed the girl walking with a thing behind it, and then that was the end of it. She doesn't want to see TVs. But this time they showed her why. She finally did see a TV, and she freaking all hell broke loose. I don't know. I just thought it was a cool scene. I guess, but I think
Yeah.
that mirror scene towards the end was creepy. Right before it went into all Exorcist 2 land. Uh, what was that stuff about put the baby in the sea? What was all that about?
Oh, yeah, like putting her like soul out to rest at sea. I forgot what they said.
Yeah, I don't know, but there were things here. It just, like I said.
What they said.
Oh, that's great. That's that lady. Oh, that's funny. Bug out
Yeah.
city. That lady in the old
I had to
folks' home.
send it.
That was
The
good.
old lady in the old age home.
Will the Patreon see that on the video or no? Or do we only
Possibly, yeah.
see it?
I don't know.
Curious.
I
I'm
don't know.
curious.
Let us
That's-
know, Patreon.
But dude, to me, it does go Exorcist 2 type shit in the third act, where it's just like you're just throwing all this crazy shit at me, and it's unnecessary. It's like you're taking things that were really cool about the original and trying to over explain it for no good reason, and making your main characters all of a sudden appear halfway through and then had to put them in the background after that. I mean, I get having the other girl be the lead. It makes sense. That's what good sequels do. They take those secondary characters and they make the most out of it. I get that. But it's one or the other. Don't have both. I don't know. Maybe they should have killed somebody off.
Well,
I don't know.
Okay, I know what you're saying, but they kill her off pretty quickly. She kind of, and it's Takano's fault because she just, she's gonna turn them in, and then she feels bad at the last second and warns them, only for them to run away and for Reiko to get plowed over by a truck.
Yeah, that's true. That was a good scene too. I
Yeah.
like that.
But even the stuff once they get to the end with with the uncle putting the coffin out to sea, then all of a sudden he's there at the pool. He's drowning himself.
Oh, that's the uncle?
Yeah, that's the gray hair guy who I'm talking about from part one. The
That's
guy.
freaking what's his name? That was the guy. That was her father. That would be her stepfather. That was the guy that was married to Misako.
No, that was Takashi.
What?
Yeah.
You're trying to tell me that the guy that they went to visit in the freaking the volcanic land, that island of Izu, the guy from the first movie, Shizuku's husband.
Revenge.
No,
Huh?
Shizuku's husband was Dr. Ikuma.
No, not at all.
Yes.
What?
Dr. Ikuma is Shizuku's husband.
No, that was her doctor, and they made a child together. But she was married to the other guy. That was her husband. That guy. No, are you telling me I'm wrong all this time? It was the same thing in the American one. That
All
was her
this
husband.
time. We've watched this movie twice. All this time.
Yeah, but he was in the first movie too, and the same character was in the other movie. They were a married couple. It wasn't the uncle. That's why I was confused what you were saying before. And I think you said that the uncle ran a freaking a cabin where they rented the video. Was he at the house where Mizuku lived or not?
He was at the inn in Oshiyama or wherever the tape was made.
Izu. Okay,
Yeah.
Peninsula. Okay, what I'm saying is this: they went to visit him, right?
He's not the husband. I understand what you're saying. He's not the husband of Shizuku, though.
Is he the same character who freaking electrocuted himself in the tub in the American?
I can't even remember.
Oh, for Christ! Okay, could I have been wrong all this time? And they were brother and sister. They weren't a married couple.
It says Takashi Yamamura, Sadako's uncle, who runs an inn on Yoshima Island.
Oh, I don't know, man.
Now I'm don't forget, I'm not claiming to be right because I've only seen these once, and it's been a while since I watched the American one, so I can't even draw the comparison.
Wait a minute. Who rented the videotape to them? Who had the freaking hotel above the well? Right? Is that what you're talking about?
That was
ran an inn. Is that what you're talking about? Running a gym.
Running an inn.
Yeah, it was Dice who rented the video.
You think I need all fucking sleep running an inn?
No, the kids who died in part one stayed at Izu Pacific Land or something,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where they rented the tape.
But he didn't rent it to him. He wasn't running the inn.
No, it wasn't him. No, I'm talking about.
And was it a 99-cent rental?
When they go to the house on the island. When they go to the house on the island, the Shizuku's, where she lived.
Yeah.
That's her brother, Takashi, the gray hair guy, the one who buries Sadako's coffin at sea.
All this time I thought they were a married couple, and that would have been her stepfather, if anything. I'm lost. And it is the same thing in the movie. Remember in the American remake when they come over and he said, "Oh, we didn't have any children," or something like that. And then he goes, "Oh, the things she would show you." And then he electrocuted himself in the bathtub in the ring. You don't remember that shit? Holy God! Watch The Ring and get back to me next episode.
Oh, I have a lot of rings to watch.
Well, but check it out. I might be dead wrong, a complete idiot that all this time didn't realize that was a brother, not her husband. I thought she was cheating when she went off with that doctor.
No, you're right. She was cheating. They do bring that up, especially
cheating on who then?
Because in the flashback where she's demonstrating her powers at that place, I think you see a picture of her with her husband and the doctor who she ends up cheating with, Ikuma, who you think is Sadako's father. Akuma Patata.
Kokumo. It is extra.
Is standing off to the side, I think.
I don't know, man.
This review is.
If this was Alabama, husband, brother, who gives a fuck?
No, I want to know this now, and I'm very confused.
That's true. It is the island of Izu. Anything's possible. I don't know.
You know who their biggest rapper is there? You know who their biggest rapper is?
Who, the Ringu? What?
that's a good one, the Ringu. I was going to say Izui.
Oh, my Lord.
The Ringu. Izui. Oh, man. People are like, I don't know if I'm ever watching any of these movies.
I don't know, man. I'm lost now. I got it. Well, I'll never know. I'll know. I won't
never know.
I'll never.
It feels like never because I can't look it up right now because we're doing a show. It feels like I gotta wait for an eternity to look this shit up. It's gonna take time. I can't believe I could have been wrong all this time when they weren't married. Someone's either saying somebody's crazy here or somebody is not because
Yoichi Namata. Isn't it weird that the actor who plays Takashi, who we're debating about, his real first name is Yoichi, which is the character's name of the kid. So it's even more confusing there.
It is pretty confusing.
It's crazy, but I'm again, first time watching, so I'm wondering, even when I'm watching the first one, wait, so who is this old guy who they keep talking to? I know he's like the last surviving relative of relation, and I looked it up, and it says, at least when under the description of Ring 1, that it's Sadako's uncle, meaning Shizuku's brother or brother-in-law, whatever. Because he even talks about how she was a weird person, and we talked about it in part 1, how she's always talking to the sea. It doesn't sound like he would marry this type of person, even though she probably started off normal. She did have her break at some point. But again, somebody out there is like, Dave, you're right, Brandon's idiot, or
I don't know.
Laughing,
most likely,
like Dave's favorite series.
No, most likely not. I might be an idiot. I might be the idiot all these years. I'll tell you, knowing me, it's quite possible. Wow. Well, I don't know. We'll get to the bottom of it, I guess. We should get. What else can we do here? We better wrap this thing up.
I'm trying to look at trying to remember the third act. I'm looking at my notes here.
Yeah, well, I don't know. The third act. Who can remember it?
Yeah.
There's water and bullshit.
This craziness.
Based on what you guys saw,
and bullshit.
Ghosts appear. Ryuji's ghost appears and tells her, when she's climbing out, whatever you do, don't look down. Of course, he should have just kept his mouth shut, because the first thing Takano does is look down, and then Sadako's ghost appears and starts climbing after her. And I'm just like,
I had this tied, even though I said I enjoyed it more than the first. I had it tied as a rating, but now hearing you guys, I have to agree, it's not as good as the first. 7 out of 10.
Dave, can you explain why, or Christian too, why she says to her at the end when they're climbing out, why the ghost says to her, why is it only you were saved?
Who said that?
Sadako says that to Takano as she's climbing out of the well with the kid before she falls back into it.
Oh, I remember that. I don't know. That's the problem.
Yeah, it became almost like it became a completely different movie, because they come out of there and like, are you scared anymore? And it became almost like Nightmare on Elm Street. Like, the fact that they weren't scared anymore defeated the curse.
I don't know, dude. All I could think of was Exorcist 2. The way this shit went, especially in that third act in that movie.
It's been a long time since I've seen that, so I think I saw that before Ring American, so.
That might be a Patreon pick too, so we'll see what happens. The new trilogies. The new trilogies, baby. Who knows what they're going to select?
The new Exorcist 2?
Yeah, the new Exorcist 2. No, but the Exorcist trilogy is one that's going to be on there, so,
That's fine, yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see. Maybe one day we'll talk about him. But Christian says 7 out of 10. I was down. I was up. I can't get... I'll cut it in the middle. 6.5.
And I'm going to go right between you two and sandwich myself in at 6.75.
Just the way you like it.
Woo.
But didn't you think, like, in all this movie, like, the coolest part was the very end when they show the reporter who screwed the girl and the picture's taken, and there she is, like, her spirit laughing right behind him? It reminds me of, what's that other Japanese film? I think it was Shudder. Wasn't it Shudder where that's the thing where the curse is at the end, like the Japanese girl has its arms wrapped around him in the pictures?
Well, she was not wrapped around. Well, yeah, basically, but she was riding on him on his back. On his shoulders.
Like that's terrible. Yes, but
true.
That I thought was like that was the most like logical storyline in this whole film. Where they went with our lead characters was just obviously, after hearing that review, it was just very confusing. We're not even sure who Shilmi's characters are.
It really was.
Are you an uncle? Are you a father? If you're an uncle, you're too close.
I don't know what he was. All right. Okay. What are we talking about? Starry Eyes?
Starry Eyes from 2014. A hopeful young starlet uncovers the ominous origins of the Hollywood elite and enters into a deadly agreement in exchange for fame and fortune. Co-directors and co-writers Dennis Widmeyer and Kevin Kolch.
Who just did the Pet Sematary remake, right?
Yeah, they did the Pet Sematary remake, and they did that film Holidays. They did Mama 2.
Mama,
I'm coming home.
They did Big Mama 2, Big Mama's House 2.
Not as good as Mama 3.
Mama said to knock you out.
What an asshole.
Astraeus Pictures. How about that? This is brought to you by Astraeus Pictures. Did you know that?
Yeah.
So it really exists.
Yeah.
Astraeus Pictures. That's pretty freaking. I love stuff like that in movies. They actually like reference themselves and which.
Wait, there's really an Astraeus Pictures? Wait, I'm
confused. At the beginning of the movie, that's what it said. It said Astraeus Pictures presents or something or other on the credits. Yeah, that's why it's my first note.
And last.
First
I really didn't know that.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? Unless it was just a joke, but I mean that's how they started their film. It's at Astraeus Pictures.
I don't know. I feel like it might be a joke.
I don't know.
Because it says it's Dark Sky Films and Snowford Pictures and.
Oh well, you know what they did? They did that cutesy thing that they did with what do you call it? House of the Devil, where it came up and it said MCXC whatever and the year and Roman numerals and with a registered trademark thing next to it. And it said Astraeus Pictures. So I don't know. Maybe it was just for
I don't know. But all I'll say is, man, I love the soundtrack of this one.
The soundtrack's pretty solid. The whole movie's pretty solid.
The whole I love everything about this movie. It's a fucking solid independent film, man.
Yeah.
Just like Pieces of Talent, this one stands out. The fucking performances.
The performance, especially of our lead. The lead's performance, Alex Aso, or however you say her name, Eso.
She's great, man.
She happens to be terrific, and she gives a terrific performance. I don't know why, for me, this is only a second view for me. I was not as high on the film as I was the first time around.
Oh, you're crazy.
I come up when I watch it. How about that? I've watched it 3 times and I come up each time.
I come everywhere, but I mean, for the sake of this, one, I don't know why. Her performance is still terrific, but then when you get to the end, this is like.
It's just a story, is what you're saying? You knew it was coming, and this is what it was you're expecting to see, and it's too straightforward? What? What are you going to say?
I don't know. I don't have the words yet. Maybe I should have had the words written down before this.
Maybe so.
I'll let you and C talk before I open my mouth again.
No, from a thematic standpoint, fantastic. It's timely with the whole Me Too movement as well. And not to get into that because it's just funny that they even reference that the guy hits on her, the producer. And the friend's like, are you fucking kidding me? Who does this in this day and age?
Right, I was thinking that too, see?
Yeah, it's fucking hilarious.
Because nowadays, you're right.
And it's fucking, it gets under your skin. The first time she tugs on her fucking hair, I'm already reeling.
It hurts.
Wincing.
Yeah.
I can't believe they're doing it. And it gets worse from there.
Mm-hmm.
The murders are fucking gruesome, realistic, and hard-hitting. Like,
thank you.
Fantastic stuff.
Dude, I've said it before. Anytime there's a kitchen knife scene and it's just like randomly played, like something you could actually see in your kitchen, I can go upstairs right now and take a freaking knife like that and kill a member of my family. It's something about a kitchen.
Is Dave talking about killing his family? I was looking at my notes and I just thought I heard
I'm
Dave
just saying, it seems realistic the way it's shot. And when you see a kitchen knife or a chef's knife, something that people have in their kitchen that they get to take out of the freaking that block with the rest of their knives and slice somebody's face or throat with or something about that, when I see that in a film, because it's something that's in almost everybody's household, it just hits harder with me. It seems more believable, and when that does happen, wow. And then the other stuff's just damn great with gore and the barbell and
oh man, that barbell. Oh my god!
Oh, I love fucking exquisite.
It's insane. That's my favorite of the kills. That is.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And I love the goofy guy who trips. He just deserves it. Like you
slips on her hair.
Yeah, what a weakling. You deserve to be stabbed in the back 75 times.
Right. I know.
Hey, what's up?
And you know what? In a way, I could kind of see where, in the direction that she goes towards the end, when she's looking around and you got all these catty bitches doing their thing and they're all competition, but at the same time, they all have dreams, and like maybe one out of freaking every thousand is gonna make it on film. And yes, they are having fun, but to look around at that, and they're not really amounting to much of anything. They're just partying and having. You're young, enjoy yourself. I get that. You can only do it once, but
yeah, I think that it does a good job in showing these other characters and really painting
mm-hmm.
probably a pretty accurate picture of what seeking fame is like for 99.9% of people. You're just not going to get there. It just doesn't happen. So they just enjoy the process of trying it.
But I get where she's coming from when she says they're losers. And I would never say that to someone. I wouldn't. It's a mean way to think. But ultimately, they're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
They're so focused on, hey, we're gonna make a movie together. And who am I to crush anyone's dreams? They're probably, they'll accomplish more than I will. But I'm just saying, from her perspective, getting a taste, and I don't mean that, figuratively, but getting a taste of the big top and this Estrellas Pictures, which is like a heavy.
The circus is Christian's thing. It's Christian's thing. If you stop talking about the big top.
Getting a taste.
It's supposed to be secretive.
Dave, I swear my dad does that all the time.
Really? He does the Dumbo? Nice.
Yeah, he does. That made me laugh.
Amazing.
No, but I get it, and I understand why she's speaking like this because her transformation's already begun. The way it's presented, that's really well done, is that she's really only the only pure, kind-hearted person within her group. And then she goes on these auditions and they start talking to her about the ugliness of the human spirit. And it starts to get revealed that the ugliness is really apparent on both sides. So it's almost like at this point, she's just choosing the lesser of two evils. Like, why not go with these horrible people who suck, who will at least make me a star?
Hey,
when she realizes all her friends have pretty much betrayed her, even her roommate who goes around telling everyone, that she blew the producer for the part.
Which is fucked, and they shouldn't spread rumors, and it is what it is. But I mean, she's getting paid. She hands her that big envelope. When she gets that big envelope, and she throws all that money at her, and then she's like, "Here, now it's both of our apartment," because she's behind on the rent. And it's like, I don't know how this is gonna sound, but it's like she says something like, "So I'm either gonna be a slave at this freaking Tater's place, or I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna degrade myself in this way with this man, and I'm gonna get paid a lot more. Either way, if I'm doing this thing with this guy, I'm doing what I love. Not that part, but I'm going to become an actress. I'm doing something that I have passion in. I don't have any passion in freaking, working at Big Taters and freaking serving food to these slobs and singing happy birthday and all that shit. Either way, you're a slave. Either way, you're a slave to the dollar. You may as well let it lead to something that you like. And that's what I thought about when I was watching the movie.
Yeah, but didn't you feel like if Danny's character had remained genuine to her and hadn't immediately just started hooking up with Aaron's character right away and sort of just showed like that he was going to give the part back to her, that maybe she would have chosen a different path? Like once she was fully betrayed by all of her friends, it just completely went downhill, and then when she fully embraced the transformation.
So the thing is, how do you feel about that? Do you, if you're in those shoes, what do you do?
Well, at that point, it's like I said, it's the best of two evils. It's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. So why not choose to be a star when you have nothing? You have nothing good on either end. In terms of positive, good people, might as well sell your soul to the people who can give you the most.
Thank you. That's the word she said. Sell your soul. Okay. Yeah. There you go. Well said, because I forgot that. But I'm thinking about that, and I think about this shit all the time in my daily routine. I'm like, you know what? If I could suck a dick this week instead of working the freaking 48 hours or more I'm going to work this week, I'd rather do that if somebody offered it to me. If I could suck a dick tonight, right now, it's only going to be 10 minutes worth of work, and I don't got to show up for work for a week, I'd rather do that. And I'm not gay, and it has nothing to do with sexuality. It has to do with fucking what's easier. And if people look down on me for it, well, and if people have a fucked up attitude about it and say, well, Dave Z, you're crazy, and this girl's a hoe, and you're a hoe, and this and that, I get where they're coming from, but honestly, if you get right down to it, I was thinking about that shit as I'm watching this movie. I'm like, you know what? Whatever, dude. Most people hate their jobs. I'd hate to suck a dick, but it'd only take me about 10 minutes, and I'd be okay after that. So there you go.
You're kidding. You're an expert.
Okay, it should probably take me 5 minutes because I have a dick. I should know how to treat one, don't you think? That's why I say gay men have the best life. Yeah, they got the best life, dude. They got the best sex. They get the most sex. I guarantee it. Actually, let's interview Vince. Let's see what he has to say about it. I'm just telling you, man.
He'd agree.
I don't know. See, I know. I'm not even gay. I'm far from it, but I'm telling you, guys are guys. Gay guys are straight guys. Men are men. Well, I'm not bragging. I'd rather not be. Believe me. Oh,
there's a question I have pertaining to this film, and I guess it is a little spoiler-esque. I mean, we have been spoiling the films because they are a little bit older. But when she actually decides to give in and goes back to the producer, and they talk about her giving up her body to be a vessel for Astrarius's voice and all that, is she any more special than these other people in the cult, or is she just the next in line?
That had me thinking. And I was also thinking about how it came up that Astraeus Pictures has been around for years.
Yeah.
And you see that she loves those old Hollywood actresses. They're on her wall.
Yeah.
She has respect for it and everything else. But at one point when she's talking to her friends about going to the initial meetup with the producers from Astraeus or the at least the casting call, somebody says, "Oh, Astraeus, that's legit." And then one of the girls inquires, and she goes, "Well, they've slipped the last 2 or 3 years, but they're making a comeback. But they've been around for years." So I'm thinking, that's what I was kind of thinking. Why would they have slipped the last 2 or 3 years if they have all this power?
Maybe are they still looking for their next big thing, and it's her?
Maybe she's just that special.
Yeah.
Maybe so. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that is it. Because that's what I was thinking. I'm like, well, if they have all this power where they're all willing to freaking sit there and be members of this cult and wear their things and chant their chants and everything else, then why are they? Granted, they have a lot of money. You see the way they live. But again, the guy said that they've been slipping. The last few years. Well, I was like,
maybe it has to do with the fact that this next star has to be somebody who's not forced into destroying their old self and being reborn in their image. It has to be somebody who is willing to. And when they see that she rips her hair out and abuses herself and almost hates herself and wants to change who she is, that she's willing, then she's the prime candidate.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe they have those casting calls all the time, and maybe nobody ever impresses.
Yeah.
And because they caught her in that room flipping out and pulling her hair out and everything else, they saw the passion. Maybe you're onto something. I do like what she says to the Taters guy. And that whole dynamic in the film is cool. How she goes back and forth with him. Because you understand what he's doing. He's just trying to run his joint. He probably makes a decent living doing it. He even talks about it later. He goes, yeah, I know all that stuff is cheesy and we do this and I say see you later, Tater Gator and all that stuff. And, it's cheesy and, we say, oh, we talk, but he goes, but that's all me. And, he probably makes a decent living.
I kind of like that scene. I mean,
yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, he was a little kind of condescending to her, but he was saying this is me, respect it. He was getting the sense that she was really starting to look down on him.
Right. But she does have a good comment. He said 1 million other girls would be willing to be in this position. And
I'm not 1 million other girls.
Yes. I like it.
That's a good line.
That's basically, that's putting it out there. She's not 1 million other girls. She's going to go on to something big, and she knows it. Yeah, I like that, man. What about you, C? You're quiet. Did all that blowjob talk throw you off?
Starry Eyes, as I mentioned when we opened, it's a standout, like we did Pieces of Talent, 9 out of 10. It's a modern, I don't want to say classic, because I think maybe that'd be overpraising it, but there's so much to take away from this movie and to enjoy with this movie. 9 out of 10.
That's a solid rating. I mean, I'm not that high, but I mean, her performance is to me, in conjunction with the soundtrack of the film, is what makes this film a lot higher than I think what it would have been had her performance not been strong. And
Good call.
I really like Amanda Fuller too. And even though like her death isn't my favorite, it kind of makes sense since she's the one who's spreading the rumors that that it's almost like her like she sucks like her voice and she sucks her mouth and she like sucks like the soul out of her. It's almost like shut up. It's really a cool scene. I didn't really think about it till now because she was the one who was always kind of spreading the rumors.
That's true. Yep, she had a big mouth about shit. Yes.
So that was kind of cool, and the rebirth scene was cool, and the green eyes, and
I love it.
It's a cool last scene. I still think I like films like Pieces of Talent. I definitely like more. I like the way Neon Demon did it. I thought it was better, but this is definitely a solid 8 out of 10 for me.
Cool, man.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Now I really enjoy it. When it gets brutal, it really gets brutal. Yeah. I mean, I can handle it all except the stuff with the involving fingernails and teeth because it's like whoa,
oh
like
fuck,
that,
yeah,
right? Yeah, we didn't even talk about that. Her rotting, ooh, man.
That's the tough part to watch. The second act, when things go on with her, the body horror, it's like and the stuff with the worms.
Oh man, when she vomits those maggots, that's nasty. But that's really cool how they did that with her hair, making her hair look so thin, and just oh man, she looked better.
Yeah, that's for sure. But she does look great at the end, and through most of it. And there's a lot of attractive young ladies in this movie, you know.
The performances are solid. The performances are solid, but hers is a standout performance. You could see it even just in facial expressions and just like she sells her role without even having to say anything, which I always feel is very impressive.
She does good. She gets that little happy birthday cake and you know, and her eyes at the end, that emerald color, like when she
that's great.
Oh, it's beautiful eyes.
And she's naked at that point too, so it's even more phenomenal.
Naked and bald with emerald eyes. Yeah,
I like she pulled off the bald really well. I wanted to lick her head.
It reminded you of your body.
That's right, Baldy over there.
We call them baldies.
Bald and stupid.
Grim.
We call them baldies.
Oh boy. So yeah, I'm with you with the rating. 9 out of 10. Same as C. I'm
yeah. Fuck you, B.
Fuck you, he says. Amazing.
I'm kidding.
I love it. Sometimes I talk down films and then I wind up giving them 8 out of 10s. Like, didn't you just talk it down for the last hour? It happens.
You know?
It do.
All right. Yeah, it does. All right. One more and we can get out of here, folks. One more. What do you got?
My least favorite of the night.
Oh, God.
Oh, boy. Ring Zero.
Ring Zero. Basude. Okay, this is a prequel to The Ring where a young Sadako becomes an actress in hopes of escaping her troubled past. But strange visions and terrifying powers begin to manifest.
Did they rewrite the mythology here?
I guess they could do whatever they want.
I'm still not sure who the uncle is. So
You have nothing to do with this one.
Yeah, that's true.
All they got to worry about is Sadako, a Mizuko, and the doctor.
I mean, Shizuko.
Whatever. Shizuko? Yeah, Shizuko. What did I say? Mizuko?
Shizuko?
I'm sorry. Yeah, Shizuko. I apologize. Yes.
Etsuko.
Ayako. How about her? That girl. That was some scary stuff when she got killed earlier on in the movie. Now, I'll tell you what. To me, this is like a drama, and it's almost like an Asian version of Carrie in some respects. And I don't know if I'm going to be alone here. I actually feel for Sadako, or as what you can call her in this movie, Hadako, because she is a pretty girl.
Oh, man. Yeah. Our 19-year-old Sadako in this is stunning.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
No, I don't disagree with you. I just found it a little bizarre because I'm like, wait a second here. I thought she was a little girl that was like pushed in a well.
Well,
and they
she wasn't a little girl.
Rewrite it now. Yeah, I know.
Well, hey, you got to do something. What do you want?
You know, it's weird though, because in this one, you know, we have another reporter, you know, Miss Miyagi. Miyagi.
Yes.
Daniel-san!
Wax on!
Banzai, Daniel-san! Banzai, Daniel-san! Banzai, Daniel-san! Banzai!
Bonsai. Bonsai.
Anyway, she's the reporter in this one. She goes to see Sadako's school teacher, and it's we're 30 years earlier, and there's obviously no mention of a well at this point. So it's
However.
yeah. So at this point, she's just trying to find out about the story with her and the whole class drowning and stuff.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's almost like she had
a premonition.
Yeah, like Dead Zone type stuff.
14 girls drowned. She said, "Don't go in the sea." But remember, there you go. It was the water, man. She said, "Get out! Don't go in that water."
Yeah.
I tell you, I don't know. Listen, all the reporters are dead. Everybody that was at that original demonstration when what's her name, Shizuko or Mizuko?
Did her routine on stage.
Yeah, they're all gone, man. So was it the vengeance of the mother? Or was it the vengeance of Sadako? And did Sadako mean to do it? That's what I'm saying with that Carrie stuff. It's like her emotions are causing things to happen that she doesn't really necessarily want to happen.
Yeah, and this film did a good job of kind of not revealing like really who was the evil one.
Right.
It really did do a good job of is it Sadako? Is it Shizuko? Is it Mitsubishi? Is it Piston Honda?
Call back.
Piston Honda. Brilliant.
Little punch up for
absolutely nice.
Yeah, but I like that they again brought back the demonstration and that all the reporters were died, and then we quickly jumped to a 19-year-old Sadako in this theater troupe, and it's sort of her therapeutic treatment to help her, and immediately like nobody in the troupe likes her. Everyone's sort of freaked out by her, with the exception of the one editing guy, the Toyama guy, who's nice to her, but the girl who likes him, or he's seeing Etsuko, is immediately jealous and suspicious, and it just plays out really well. And yeah, like you said, the lead actress, because she's the understudy, the lead actress who dies, very creepy scene.
Yeah.
You see the little Sadako walking behind, so you're like, wait, is this Sadako a different Sadako? And ultimately it leads to what it is, which is much, maybe the story is rewritten, but it's much easier to follow than part 2.
That's for sure, right?
Yeah.
So Christian, that's what? How many times have we watched movies like this, where a prequel is shown to explain an origin tale, and it doesn't make any sense at all. You don't like what they came up with here? You think it's a cop out or something?
I do think it's a bit of a cop out. I can't disagree with Brandon. I'd say it's less convoluted in a sense, but I don't know. Her going to art school and being a performer, but yet she's super shy, and I don't know. I just didn't buy it, and I'm like, what the fuck are they trying to sell me here?
I could understand. It's a little slower moving. It's more dramatic than the other ones. I guess you have to really be a fan of the first one to respect this one, I think. And I don't know. I really dug what they did with it. I'm not saying it's like amazing or anything, but
I thought it was creepy when the teacher showed back up and told the reporter about the story when she called on her at the house.
Oh yeah, and the crawling girl upstairs, and then she
crawling, just the eye in the attic, and then the other, and then Sadako and her mother disappearing. Like that, I don't know, that I found that very unsettling. And then they brought back the whole, pictures with the cursed pictures, and with the reporter's picture, you saw images of the reporters who had died in the background, which I thought was really cool.
That was cool.
Yeah,
how about when that girl went to the house, when the teacher went to the house, and casting aside the, seeing the eye and the girl crawling upstairs, when they showed freaking, what's her name? Shizuko, in the mirror, and she kept getting closer and she was looking at it and shit. That was freaking way creepy, man.
Hell yeah, it was.
Wow, what's wrong with this woman? Oh, man. Yeah, that freaked me out. There was good stuff, man. The noises and the voices on the tapes and all the stuff they were doing. It it was stripped down. It was less bombastic. Like the stuff you saw in the last act alone of freaking of
Mr.
Ring
Lava
2.
Lava. When you said bombastic, that's just
Mr. Bombastic, super fantastic. Yes.
I think I'm gone delirious.
Hey.
I'm not even drinking and I'm delirious.
Damn. But you know what I'm saying? It went so crazy in the last act of Ring 2 that it's like all the stuff that happened there, they went kind of the opposite road here. They said, okay. I mean, till the end when they had to do the explanations about the freaking, the two girls and what happened. But I dug that. One was more like her mother. One was more like her natural father, which what is his natural father? Man.
Yeah. And again, with the mother not being cleared until late in the film, it's like, who is this Susanne? Maybe it's not even Sadako. And, when he kills the director of the play, defending Sadako,
yeah.
I don't know why I really thought that he had put the body in the coffin on the stage.
I had to rewind that scene because I didn't know what happened exactly.
He just hid it behind somewhere because then they find it later on.
Yeah.
But she also heals. They're in the hospital after that, and Sadako heals the person in the wheelchair. So you're like, what? You're like, what's going on? But you're able to follow it. You're like, oh, she's good. What's going on?
Right, she had like an ET finger. Remember, she put it on his face and she healed him.
Yeah, and she took away his bad case of the bad legs.
Yeah, them bad legs.
Rise up, my child. Yeah, and I don't know. I just really connected with them. I liked with the characters. I felt like I was like, all right, I really was pulling for Toyama and Sadako. He tells her she's beautiful. He wants to go away with her after the performance. And I was like genuinely hoping they would make it, and not even thinking like this is a prequel. Of course, that's not going to happen. But
I just don't, dude. Don't you think that those two women were very freaking? They couldn't prove that freaking Sadako did anything. They were just saying, oh, yeah, this happened and this happened. She killed this guy, and she's responsible for the death of Ayako, and she's responsible for the death of the guy that produces the play, whatever his name was.
Yeah.
Mr. Whatever. They freaking go right to her and that we're going to attack and we're going to kill her. Don't you think that it seemed like they were the freaking bad guys because they had no proof of anything?
Yeah, no, they kind of like, even from very early on, they just present that the dreams. Aiko and the other older woman in the play are talking
about the well.
Yeah, talking about having the dreams and how it only started since she showed up, and I've had the same dream, and they're just basically putting out that whole fear of this creepy girl that's just all of a sudden showing up and things are not right. So it's sort of how like this mob mentality buys into this hysteria because it wasn't her, even though she had powers. It wasn't her. So you immediately think, oh my God, it's the mother. But then you find out, what's really going on with old Eyeball in the attic.
Eyeball in the attic. Yes.
That was the original title for Raisin. Raisin, Eyeball in the attic.
Again, it gets crazy in the third act, but in a different way. But the difference is, in this movie, I like where they went when they got into the third act, where and the one before it I didn't. Even though it involved a little bit of gunplay, it still was good. I was still on board, and when we get the reveal about the what's up with Sadako and what's really at play here, I actually bought it. Apparently Christian did not, but no, I was cool with it.
Initially, no, but the end part is the best part of the movie. For sure.
Yeah.
So there is something to enjoy here, and you're waiting for it because you kind of know how the story plays out. I just thought it felt a little bizarre that they set up this whole college story with her going to art school, but she's a little shy. Like I said earlier, I just didn't buy that part.
Yeah. Okay. Do you think that those women were in the wrong? They didn't really freaking prove anything. Like, there was no proof that she killed anyone. And they go after her that way? Do you think that there was... Do you agree with us? You think that they shouldn't have done that?
Yeah. It's a very toxic Avenger.
It's tragic. It's tragic. To me, I was thinking of Carrie. That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah,
it was just...
very much. The way I described to you that I was hoping that they would make it, that they would sort of get out and skate together and run off and live a happy life together. very Carrie-esque in terms of hoping for a different ending, even though you know it's not coming. So, but I do like the fact that you start to understand more about what the Doctor was doing and why he ultimately, bashes Sadako and puts her in the well. And it makes sense, like because he's torn because she still has elements of good in her, but they've joined now at this point, and he can't take any chances because he knows what the evil Sadako is capable of. So when he hits her and dumps her in the well, even though it's heartbreaking because there's still good in her, he has to do it. And then you hear her screaming, and ultimately now it makes sense why 30 years later she'd come back as a vengeful spirit, because all the good would be probably overpowered by then.
And that's so again, that's what you guys were saying in the sense of like the explanation of how she's a little girl, like she has a vision of herself as a little girl.
The doctor says that she was born one person, but at one point she split into two. One image representing, like Dave said, the image of her mother, which was the image of good, which is the Sadako that continues to grow and becomes ultimately, an actress in the theater troupe, and then the image of evil in the eyes of her biological father or real father, whatever, who we don't know who or what it is, and her growth is stunted, and that's why she stays a little girl locked in this attic.
Man, it makes sense.
Wow, when you explain it, yeah. When I was watching it, I was just, I don't know, something about it I wasn't really enjoying. I just found it a little bit more leisurely paced, not quite as entertaining, not quite as horrific as the other ones.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I don't think it was definitely quite as horrific or quite as scary. I can kind of see now, earlier they're all blending into one, but now thinking back on it, really having a vision, this one is a little bit definitely less horror than part two, but probably on pace with the same feeling as part one.
Yes.
It's more character driven in this one.
Yes, it is. No, yeah. I like it for that. I always thought it was kind of dramatic.
Yeah.
The first time I saw it and everything like that. But after watching it right after part two, I like this is more. It makes more sense for the mythology. It's simply explained, as far as I'm concerned. They don't, it didn't do what part two did. It just said, okay, we're gonna do this, this, and this, and this leads to this, and that's the end of it. Without getting too, not over explaining or anything. I was just like, yeah, you know what, I can dig it. So
yeah, for a first time visit to this trilogy, which I'd never seen, after initially watching them all, like it's kind of but these conversations that we have always help me out because they'll bring something up that I may have forgotten because I'm watching all these on top of each other. I binged them all last night because I just didn't have time to get to them any other time, and so these conversations always help sort of shed light on whether I truly like a film or not, especially when it's a first-time view. And I'll say this, I'm definitely higher on this trilogy after the show tonight than I am after just watching it and just thinking about it. So it's definitely a trilogy I'll go back to and certainly try to see all the other films I can in the series. If I'm rating this one, it's slightly lower than the first one, but I really do enjoy it. I'm gonna go right below the 8 rating I gave on part one and give it a solid 7.5 for first time view.
That's cool. That's really cool. I'm like lower than the second one. Like I said, it was 8, 7, and this one comes into the 6.
Okay. For me, I enjoyed it, and it's pretty solid. It's 8 out of 10 for me.
Wow.
Nice.
I enjoyed it. I'll watch it again. I'll definitely watch it before I watch part two.
I'll tell you what, though. The reason why I want to go back to watch part two again is I want to try to see if I can make sense of this. It was just...
You can't.
Yeah, that's the thing. But, I'm interested. Some friends of mine, a friend of mine, gave me some other... told me to check out different films and, different source material. So he said there's, obviously a lot more to it and stuff like that. So we'll see.
So let's see here. It was 10, 8. Well, how did it go?
10, 8, 8 for part one.
Okay.
Then part two, I was a 6.75.
I was a 6.5 and C was
A 7, because I sandwiched
7.
right in between.
Right.
And then this one, C was a 6, I was a 7.5, and you were an 8.
Interesting. Cool.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see myself ever going down on the ratings.
I do.
For these films. You see me going down. This was good. I really do like Japanese horror. People don't think I do, but I do.
Yeah, man. Well, yeah, the good stuff, you know.
Yeah. No, they're solid. You have to be in the mood to watch it. You got to pay attention to Japanese horror films. I feel like it's not. I've never watched an Asian horror film, any Asian country horror film, where you can just sit back and just sort of, relax and watch it and just sort of turn your brain off. They always make really thought-provoking films, even if they don't necessarily make sense. You got to think. And that might be a cultural thing and a lot of, folklore and mythology within that culture, but it intrigues me enough.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. Next show we're doing some more Asian stuff, so get ready. Episode 86.
Yeah, Christian and I can't remember the name of the movie, so we call it Mandingo.
It's Matango. Matango from 1963, Cure from 97, Premonition from 2004, and Kevin K comes back again. Grave Encounters 1 and 2 for RRRs.
Nice.
Boom. Yes. Yep. We only have 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, what is this? Episode 5? 85, I mean?
Yeah.
6, 87, 89, 90 with RRRs on them. Because after that, we're going back to old school. Things are being a little bit changed with the Patreon, and the only RRRs that we're going to be bringing are the ones that we bring ourselves.
Another great show, boys. A lot of fun as always. Thank you to everyone, all the supporters, everyone. Everyone's been so cool. It's really fantastic, and we love doing it. No end in sight at this moment.
Episode 100.
Except at 100.
Yeah, we love you guys, and
yes, we do.
Hope you guys enjoyed us getting back to our natural selves, just chilling out. And I don't know how I am, Mr. Absolute Dave, but I'm trying. What do you want? Yeah, let's wrap it up. Yeah, let's wrap it up. We got to get our asses to bed. Thank you again. See you next show. We love you all. Goodbye and good night.
And good riddance.
The air should say, "Now, Rosie, Rosie."